Bleh. Good morning, everyone. Hope you guys had a fantastic evening and a fantastic night's rest. Hope you're having a good morning today. I actually had a real good night's sleep last night. I was very thankful for that. Very, very thankful for that. Mostly because yesterday, it came down to the Battle of the Hedgerow. So, yeah, my little kobolds are tenacious and stuff, but they do not want to tangle with the hedgerow. And so I went out and took some hedge clippers, or I don't know what they're called technically, hedge trimmers. Think of them like you ever see those bolt or those bolt cutters, things like that. Yeah, that's basically, you think of that. And I don't know what they're technically called. I think hedge clippers is correct. I think, or trimmers. But yeah, went out there, battled the hedgerow, got a bunch of it cleared. Still a lot more to do. But yeah, the things that were in the hedgerow, the things I've seen. Ooh. Also, I found a new weed I had no idea existed. It's a giant vine weed that has massive seed pods that look like peppers. Huge seed pods that look like peppers. It's crazy. Never seen that species before. Didn't even know it was a thing that existed. I actually thought they were peppers at first. I was like, what the hell? We got peppers growing in this hedgerow? What the hell? So there's that. There's potential of poison ivy in there, so that's gonna be a bit rough. I got scraped up pretty good. Had an open cut on my left arm, but luckily it's starting to heal already. That was rough. So yeah, poison ivy is a high likelihood of being in there. It was in the first initial parts of the hedgerow, so there's likely more. But not only do we have that, but we have grapevines everywhere in there, with some actual grapes on them. Weird. Seth, are you telling us you have a dwarven ancestry with your tale of your epic battle against a shrubbery? No. No, this is the hedgerow. I don't think I'm doing it justice on what this thing is. This thing is like a 20. I don't know how. Well, let's do it lengthwise first. It's about a 200 foot long hedgerow. Has like some trees actually growing out of it. I have dwarven ancestry with an epic tale against sobriety. Oh God. But yeah, it has trees growing out of it. Has grapevines in it. Has these I don't know what species of plant it is, but oh my God, there's this one plant where it has all of its limbs, all of its trunks, everything like that, big old spines out of it. But it's not like a prickly bush or anything like that. No. They're just like, they're spines where limbs were originally growing and then they died and then they shrivel up and harden into these jagged spikes all over. It's not like actual thorns. They're like dead tree limbs that have turned into spikes. Fucking wild. That's the thing that slashed me. Ugh, that was awful. Awful. Record in an hour was 3 alien brain hemorrhage, 1 gimlet, 1 kamikaze, 1 lemon drop, serving a Bailey's Irish cream, Long Island iced tea, an old fashioned, a blue moon, an angry orchid. Yeah. Wow. In fact, you have the Long Island iced tea in there. I drank 2 of those back to back, not realizing how much alcohol was in them. I thought they were tasty. Normally I can't stand alcohol. When it comes to a Long Island iced tea, I can knock those things back, which is terrifying because not only are they alcoholic, they are exceptionally alcoholic. There is a metric shit ton of alcohol in them. But for whatever reason, you just can't taste it. And I remember that on an Irish, there was an Irish channel on YouTube, like the Try channel or something like that. I think they renamed from something else, like Irish Facts. They renamed to like the Try channel. They were trying out like different American cocktails, and they tried the Long Island iced tea, and they're talking about how lovely it was. And then the producers explained to them how alcoholic it was. How much alcohol they had just consumed, and almost all of them were blown away. But one of them was like, "No, that can't have that much alcohol, because I could sit there and I could drink that all day, every day, like every hour. It cannot be that alcoholic." It's like, no, it is. It is. It will knock you on your ass real fast. Hoofta. Yeah. Anyways, so the battle with Hedgerow, I got a lot of it cleared. Unfortunately, because I was in direct sunlight for so long, I got myself a sun headache. I hate sun headaches so much. I hate them. I hate them so much. Just sit there, because I didn't have like a lot of movement. There wasn't a lot of wind or anything, so my head got all hot, and oh, even now touching it, it feels hot as hell. Oh, sun headaches are awful. Feels like a pressure headache that just won't go away. Which I was very grateful I got some good sleep last night. Passed out, totally fine. I woke up only once in the night and went to the bathroom, went back to sleep. It's fucking great. Allows the sail of and fill the rest with cranberry juice. Nice. Learned about brass monkeys off someone online, and it took 3 glasses for them to do me in. Well, there you go. After 3 of those, you're pretty good. Nice. Well, speaking of drinks, not alcoholic, but here you go. Yeah. I really do like the black cherry salt water. It's really fucking good. Has a very pleasing aftertaste. And welcome, Neanderthal. Welcome, welcome. Again, today, we're just going to kind of shoot the shit. Shoot the breeze. Oh, and once human, I did branch out into an unstable bomber build. That's what I'm going to focus on for my solo build stuff. Again, burn build is great, but there are enemies that totally negate burn build and shrapnel build. So, I'm going to go for the unstable bomber build because they do not negate, which is really fucking cool. Oh, God. Oh, gross. Use too much booze for the OJ? There you go. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So, I'm trying to think of what we can do for today. Just besides just shooting the breeze. If you can't kill it with fire, your fire isn't hot enough. I can kill it with fire. My flames can actually melt steel beams. But I don't want to, because I don't want to damage the rest of the lawn or anything else. I like my lawn, damn it. This hedgerow. And again, like I said, the kobolds refuse to go near the hedgerow, and I can understand why now. Oh my god. Oh my god, I had so many scrapes and thwacks and things like that. It was crazy. We were talking some like Normandy thick hedgerows. Good God. It was the grapevines that were the most interesting. And seeing all those grapes all over the place. It's like, I might try to salvage some of them. I think it'd be pretty neat to make. Yeah, they got all kinds of stuff in there. Like I said, multiple trees are in there. We've got that one, like I said, that one vine that looks like it's a pepper plant. Massive seed pods. They're about as big as my hand. Fucking enormous seed pods. Such, it's just a hedge. It's not that big or scary. No. You don't understand. It's the things that are in the hedge. It's not just the hedge itself is a tangled nightmare of awfulness to deal with. It's also the things in the hedge. Birds, you might imagine, a lot of birds and a lot of different animals and things really like this hedge because it is such a tangled, nightmarish web of nonsense. Oh my god. If only it was. Yep, they're in the hedges. They're in the fucking hedges. But no, I got a bunch of it cleared out. I'm gonna wait until we get new hedge clippers. Though I need to go get some because, good lord, since I got are all banged up and awful. They have been well loved, is the polite way to say they've been used and abused. Oh. Though it is kind of nice having this hedge getting cleared out because that entire side of the house now is actually getting some sunlight, proper direct sunlight. Unfortunately, that was also proper direct sunlight on me. For an extended period of time. I don't know how I don't speak snake. You think the Harry Potter universe where there's parcel tongue. Like a family reunion. Wow. Oh, snakes are not dragons. Stop it. Stop it. How rude. I have multiple. He meant multiply. Due to YouTube failings, pray I don't multiply more. Yeah. They are dragons. Dragons also aren't snakes. Even the Quetzalcoatl ones, right? Oh my god. Damn it. Damn it, Threadnought. I'm gonna slap you. Oh, goodness sakes. Man, what do we have for today? What do we want to do for today? So I just kind of like these, get to sit back and relax and just chit-chat with you guys. Ugh, God. Gross. Yeah, I didn't have the money for it. Remember, we're trying to save up for everything, right? So I couldn't conceivably in the budget throw in Wukong, especially now that we need to get hedge trimmers and everything. There's just no way. There's no way. And because we got to get Space Marine 2, which was already planned well in advance. So that I'm waiting for the pay to come in tomorrow. Should be tomorrow, maybe tonight. Yeah. Kree actually hasn't made the snake joke himself in a while. Yeah. It can only go on for so long. I don't need a step ladder. I'm a dragon. I'm not a kobold. Nor a snake. Sure about the Disney lawsuit that happened over them killing someone? That Disney's trying to get out of it via the terms of service for Disney Plus? Oh yeah, heard about it. Well, it depends. They're not in my bipedal form. I'm 7'3". Granted, not the tallest dragon, but thank God, not the shortest either. I feel bad for him. It's one of those ones where I feel bad. It's like the meme, the 5'11" versus 6 foot. Oh my God. I have a feeling it's going to come back with a vengeance after being gone for a while, just like the tab joke. Yeah, maybe. Oh, these saltwater drinks are so good. I just can't stop sipping at them. Thank goodness I limit myself to one a day. Otherwise, I could just sit here and down them like crazy. But yeah, backtracking slightly. Yeah, the Disney are such a scummy company that because the guy, so it was the husband that died. Wow, that's a saltwater burp. Good God. Excuse me. Anyways. So, because the husband signed up for Disney Plus, therefore Disney is arguing in court that they are allowed arbitration. They're allowed to do all the claim through arbitration and not through the actual court system. Fucking absurdity. Absolutely absurd. That's the exact height of Curdlemac, the original kobold, who just so happens to also be bipedal. No, you shut up. That is not, you fucking liar. Whew, though. I wonder if we'll get another burp off of salt water. I didn't think that was possible, but apparently it is. Yeah. In other news, what I really like is, so, there's been a game we've been asking for an eternity to be on, well, it feels like an eternity. But we've been asking for it for a long time to be put on PC. And Sony has been coy and been not wanting to do it. So, what we have is a bunch of people got together and they've decided, alright, you're not going to do it, we're just going to work on the emulator then. So, just like back in the day where Demon's Souls wasn't brought over to PC, and so the PlayStation 3 emulator was worked on and created. Now we have Bloodborne. The PS4 emulator is being worked on and created, and is actually already, it looks pretty fucking impressive, honestly. We've already got They already got textures working properly. They've got texture streaming working. They don't have lighting or anything like that working yet. Sounds are still scuffed. But again, they're getting it to actually render an engine and everything on the PlayStation 4 emulator. And, yeah, they've got it to where you can actually uncap the frame rate. It looks jank as shit, and it fucks up your sprinting. But they found at 60 FPS, you can get the sprint and everything to work properly, as it should. I mean, it does look... It's looking fucking incredible. And the speed at which they're working on this is also insane. Genuinely insane. And the best part is if Sony sends them a cease and desist on this, they can just tell Sony to get bent. It's not a market replacement because you've consistently refused to even humor this market. So, fuck you. We can do what we want. We're going to put it in there because you've decided that you do not want to appeal to this market at all for this product. So we'll see. Maybe it'll force Sony to actually have to put it on PC just so they can stop this project from going. But who knows? I would still tell them just to continue. Just keep going ahead anyways. Fuck them. Tasty. Slower and faster than Rebellion. So a lot of people also been talking about Sins of Solar Empire 2. And I really do want to check it out. I want to check it out for sure. But it's another one of those ones where kind of get put on the back burner because of everything going on. Unfortunately. Oh my god. Nice. What else we got here? Just tons of different videos. Yep, we're talking about Bloodborne. We're talking about the PS4 emulator that's now working on PC. They're getting everything sorted away already. Is if somebody could put out on PC a Bethesda game made in the last 15 years that doesn't crash every 12 seconds, has a good plot and functional gameplay that is worth interacting with. I know we can already do that by installing 100 plus mods. Except Starfield, that one's just hopeless. Yeah. Not much. Apparently we're burping off of salt water. That's a new one. But there you go. And we're talking about the Bloodborne PC port, and I already regaled a tale of how I got a sun headache yesterday. Battling the hedgerow. The hedgerow from hell. Oh, the one my kobolds refused to touch. Yeah, it was too much sun. I was in direct sunlight for way too long. Woofda. But I didn't collapse or anything, so I'm grateful. But man, oh man, the headache was brutal. However, I did get a really good night's sleep, so I appreciate that. I already said Threadnought, I didn't want to burn it down. I want to protect the yard. Plus, now I kind of want to salvage some of the grape seeds. Because there's grapes growing in this hedgerow as well. So I really want to get some of those grape seeds. Starfield's only hope is to be forgotten, it even exists, then replaced with a good game with a similar name. Yeah, I mean, that would be the best outcome for it, for sure. We will never forget Starfield. It was legendarily bad. Speaking of legendarily bad, the GDC talk. God, it was like, you always had, like, the smoke in the air and the dead body and everything, right? But we never had the smoking gun and the person that did it and their confession, right? And then that GDC talk comes along and we got the smoking gun, the confession, and everything. It was fucking wild. Alright. Consumed. Whew. True, we won't ever forget the game so bad it induced sleep while you were playing it. That's a legend status for all the wrong reasons. Yeah, absolutely. Oh my god. Oh! Hey, Once Human is pushing up the timeline for the hard servers. Okay, that's good. Why is the plane full of arms and meat? I just saw Rapar's post. A monster plane. You got a written and recorded confession, yeah, basically. People who played the original Final Fantasy XIV still remember how bad it was, which is why they like Realm Reborn so much. You know, Realm Reborn, fantastic story of burning it all down and rebuilding from the ashes, right? That was even part of their storyline for 14, was the world got literally like Armageddon and then rebuilt from there. It was a smart move, for sure, with how bad 14 was. Oh, God. Who would have known? Who would have known? Who would have known that salt water makes dragons gassy? Whew. Terrible. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Alright. What do we want to do today? Stuff. I've got a video we could watch. It's a Wendigoon video. I've already seen it, though, before, so I guess I could add some additional, like, context and stuff to it. Though he does a good job of just breaking everything down anyways. But it's a story I had told multiple times, because I always got sick of people saying that the M16 was bad when it first got released, and it was, you know, all of, it was Colt's fault, and Armalite's fault, and everything like that. It was a total sham. Things like that. You got more proof. You got more proof that companies will destroy people, and you need the government to save them. And it's like, no. It's actually the opposite. The company was doing everything right, and the government actively sabotaged the weapons platform to kill as many Americans as possible so they can make it look bad. Again, I've told this story multiple times before. Wendigoon then did a video on it. And I guess, you know what, I'll show you the very start of the video, just so you can get a synopsis of how this is going to go.
Did the United States sabotage their own rifles in Vietnam? Yes, 100%. Here is Congress's subcommittee outright saying that they did and referring to their behavior as, quote, unbelievable. And here is where they directly call out the Army for criminal negligence.
Yes. Yeah. So, you gotta love how that's the start of the video. You gotta love how that's the start. So the question for the video was literally, did the U.S. sabotage its own rifle, right? And he answers it immediately in the first 10 seconds. Absolutely, 100%. Yep, they did. And again, this was back when Congress had a backbone, when when they had Republicans that were actually Republicans, and they're like, Jesus Christ, is bad. What he's gonna go into though for this is that things are way worse than you can imagine. I had talked about some of them where Eugene Stoner himself had to fly out to see what the fuck was going on because he heard all these bad problems. But he only heard bad problems from specific groups. Any of the Special Forces groups or anything that actually used it, like the Green Berets, Force Recon, everyone else that was using the weapons had nothing but praise for the M16. They had nothing but praise. So he's trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. Why do the normal grunts all hate it, but all the like special ops guys, the high speed, low drag guys, why do they love it so much? And then he turns out that they were doing all kinds of shenaniganry. And one of the things they were doing was they would actually take M16s, they would open them up, and they would weld different parts and then put it back together, and then intentionally induce malfunctions that way. It's fucking crazy. This is evidence of why the government needs to step in to save people. Just step right into the red and white area on the big red circle right in the middle. Yep. And wait for impact. It is wild. It is absolutely wild. But yeah, this one goes into more detail, and it is far more disgusting and shameful than you would expect. And it was so bad and so widespread that they couldn't hang anybody. They were going to bring up treason charges and everything like that. And the whole thing was going to get way worse for somebody. And then, oh boy. And then all of a sudden, they realized how widespread the corruption was. And they realized they couldn't take half the fucking general staff and a bunch of senators and congressmen, and they couldn't hang everybody, because that would be a wild ride, wouldn't it? So it just basically all got kind of dropped, and then Army ordnance got completely fucked over. It's been completely changed to the what's the new one? Totally different system. Springfield Armory got completely destroyed in this, and it's come back. The new Springfield Armory is not the Springfield Armory, all right? Yeah. And it's just fucking wild. Thinking of the Top Gear episode where they played darts using cars in a quarry. Nice. All right, give me 1 second though. I will be right back. My stomach's doing the grumble rumbles at me. But then, yeah, we can go through this video slowly but surely. Oh god, I'm back. Okay. Foofta. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Alright. So now, let's go... again, let's go through this video. A lot of it, I don't know how much context I can actually... more I can add. But, yeah, we can go through. How long is this video, actually? Oh, it's an hour and 3. Fuck. I saved it. I saved this video specifically in case it got taken down. You know, because YouTube are very stupid. I think that's the polite way to put it. It's too long. It's too long for a thing to do, unfortunately. But you got the gist of it there right at the very start. Like, it's crazy how shocking, how bad it got. And it's way worse than people realize. Like, absurdly worse than people realize. Bummer. Unfortunate. Okay, so... Said you to pronounce pro-fascism wrong, or did you just use a synonym? What? When you say the government wouldn't do that, just mention that they faked a vampire attack in the Philippines. Oh my god. I was going to talk about the Mark 14 torpedoes. I think it was the Mark 14. Maybe it's Mark 12. Let me get rid of which one. Yeah, it was the Mark 14. I was right. The Mark 14 torpedo was infamous for how terrible it was. And Ordnance always just told them, nah, it's fine. You just have a skill issue, you know, the whole time. And it got to the point where all of these different captains and everything, and all these even admirals came out and were like, dude, these torpedoes are shit. They are genuinely awful. And they're like, no, they're good. You're just terrible. And then eventually, I can't remember who it was. One of them captains actually took a bunch of them and threatened to shove them up the Ordnance Board's ass unless they fixed the fucking problem. And then the Ordnance Board had to quietly admit that yes, the Mark 14 torpedoes were dog shit and they had to replace them. They had to replace them. So it's just the same thing with it's the same thing. It never changes. This is just how inept and incompetent and up their own ass all these like ordnance departments are. The bean counters. People know that Vietnam was the bean counter war. They don't understand what that actually entails. The levels of self-sabotage that were going on in the United States to intentionally lose the war. It's fucking mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. We're talking about, like, this is where rules of engagement came from and everything, which is fucking stupid in and of itself. I hate rules of engagement so much. This is where all aircraft going into Vietnam could only travel in a very specific air corridor. If they deviated from that at all, they'd be tried as fucking criminals. They'd get actual court-martialed because of it. So they had to fly in a specific air corridor, which then caused the Vietnamese to muster all of their anti-aircraft guns into one area. All their anti-aircraft measures, so the guns, the missiles, everything, were all in one area. And then the same bean counters and Democrats were like, no, you can't bomb those AA emplacements. There might be Russians or Chinese in there. You're just gonna have to let them shoot at you. And then they came up with the whole fucking brilliant idea that you can't shoot at enemy aircraft unless you get visual confirmation. Which is fucking insane. Just absolutely insane. Oh, politicians did. And I'm gonna bet you they had a big old D as their party affiliation. I am gonna fucking bet you they had a big old Democrat party affiliation that created rules of engagement. Because we already know they were the ones that you weren't allowed to bomb the AA emplacements because they might have Russian or Chinese supervisors there. And we don't want to turn this into an international incident. fucking piece of shit. Oh, God. You just don't understand how much politicians can fuck things up, especially Democrat politicians. This would blow people's minds. Hey, Abysmal. Welcome, welcome. Oh, God. Yeah, I just don't know what to do today. Again, and Once Human, we changed to we're trying out a build. I've got my old house location back in Once Human. I forgot I had to continue the storyline, and then I could get to that. I could get to the Iron Hills area. We can't go to Red Sands or Chalk Peak yet. That comes next week. So that's the thing that's next week. Yep, absolutely. Why do you think the hippie movement was a thing? Like, Jesus Christ. I hate all this stuff. I hate all this stuff. When you realize how everything is all interconnected to undermine people. It's fucking wild. It's fucking wild. Okay, let's see. See if anybody's saying anything interesting or cool. I know Black Myth Wukong is available, I know. Trust me, I'm well aware. I'm well aware. God, I'm just gonna have to fucking ban that one guy off Rumble. It has to be some bot. Has to be a bot. Guy that's just constantly asking for an email. It's like, no, go away. I understand even more now than before why we do a lot of self-subterfuge to get around politicians and bean counters. Oh yeah. That's that whole, just say that they were shooting at us sort of thing. It's like, this is the exact reason why. You have to do it to get around all the nonsense. All of it. It's genuinely terrible, but it is what it is. Let's see if we've got something on maybe Rablex. We'll see if there's anything cool there. Also, my God, I need to clean up my desktop and get rid of all those fucking thumbnails. There are thumbnails all over the place on this desktop. All over the place. I need to clean up the desktop and just get rid of a bunch of these thumbnails. Alright, is there anything cool, exciting, interesting? OBS disconnected for a second and then reconnected. Don't know why, but I don't know if you also heard the Windows error message there. But it had to let me know that OBS pooped itself and then came back. Wild. Genuinely wild. Oh, what a day. I thought I had some other stuff lined up, but I do not. Which is my fault. I should prep this more, but I just kind of like chilling with you guys and talking and everything. It just feels kind of nice. Let's see if somebody has a suggestion video or something we could do. We can look at just sight unseen. What do we got here? Yeah, we already did that one. Demo recommendations. Remind myself to never look at Broken Penny suggestions ever again. Well, it's not really a good suggestion either. Yeah. Yeah, it's not really good suggestions either. Fucking hell. Well, that's unfortunate. Let's do. We were thinking about, like, I was thinking about doing the video for suggestion. I guess let's do one. It'll be a Fat Electrician I haven't seen yet. So I've been doing more where I don't actually watch them immediately. Oh, it's only been 2 days though. I don't know. It just feels wrong to me to get in on the first couple days that something's been released, just because. Oh, plus, oh my God, it's an hour and 18 minutes long. We can't do that. Jesus. Jesus, I would love to, but I cannot do that. Oh, I don't know. I've never watched this one. Here we go. Only 12 minutes and 50 seconds.
This is
All right. Pull this over. Mew. Okay. This'll work. This'll work. This'll work. Has DICE apologized for Battlefield 5 yet? No. They let apathy take over. Given how openly and brazen the media have been last decade alone, I'm starting to wonder how many of the friendly fire incidents in Iraq, Afghanistan actually happened. Yeah, I know, right? Troops in these friendly fire incidents were killed by Yanks, and how many were the Taliban? Who knows? I know it's really good because I know who it's about, but it's one of those, like, so it's one of those things where it's like it has to be good, but we can't just sit there and do that, you know, for the stream, unfortunately. I would love to, but I can't. Yeah, here we go. We are going to do this one, which is America's Airborne Beavers, Operation Beaver Drop. Which wouldn't surprise me, given all the other crazy and wacky things that we've done. Like the cat bombs, the pigeon bombs, the chicken nukes, oh god. The bat bomb is the most interesting one to me, just because it was so shockingly effective. Yeah, all the rest of them are just kind of like wild things. The cat one was wild. Okay, so you need to understand the cat bomb thing, right? They put cats into bombs that had guidance systems on them, and the reason they did it, this was their thinking, okay? I swear to God, I'm not making this up. The reason they did it was because the science and logical thinking at the time was that cats don't like water. Ergo, if you put a cat in a bomb, they will naturally steer the bomb to land on the ships. Brilliant. No, it was way worse than that, Dreadnought. They didn't even do the cats land on their feet thing. No, it was that they don't like water, so they'll try to land on the ship instead of the water. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yep. That's real, by the way. That's a true thing. It's fucking... That's the level of intelligence we're working at here. On a lot of these. So, an operation, an airborne beaver drop would not shock me at all. The blade missile is an actual wild thing that works. Right? This isn't some pseudoscience fantasy nonsense, right? The fucking blade missile is genuinely like a great assassination tool. Holy shit. So fucking effective. It's wild. And keeps collateral down. But yeah. How? That is a gross misunderstanding of cats. You gotta understand, Germany wasn't the only ones who employed mad scientists in their weapons development programs. You gotta understand, everyone around the world was coming up with the most wacky, nonsensical horseshit you can imagine. The pigeon bombs were funny, and then they got actual guidance systems for bombs, so that became non-effective. But originally it was effective because what they would do is they would train pigeons to pick at the outlines of ships. And if they picked up the outline of a ship, they would get a treat. So they would just train these pigeons to just pick at ships, pick at ships, pick at ships over and over and over and over again, right? And then they would put them in these bomb capsules where they had 3 pigeons in these bomb capsules, and then the pigeons would pick at the ship screen. And that was to ensure that if one pigeon, for whatever reason, got a wild hair up its ass and started picking at something else, that the other 2 would override it because they wanted their treat. And that actually did work for guidance things. Yeah, holy shit. So again, this would not surprise me that we would try beavers. And I wonder if it's just to, like, fuck with dams or something, or well, I'm trying to think of what you could do, like, stop water flow to an area, or, like, mess with crops, or I'm trying to figure out what you would do with beavers, so I guess let's find out. What did they do with the beavers?
It's easily one of my favorite stories of all time, and it is the epitome of, it's not stupid if it works.
Oh my god, so it actually fucking worked? And also, no, that saying is wrong. The whole, if it's stupid but it works, well, it's still stupid but it worked, is the actual thing it should be.
Today we're talking about Operation Beaver Drop, that time that a bunch of World War II veterans that worked for the Idaho Fish and Game Department got assigned the task of relocating a bunch of beavers to a different habitat, and they decided that the cheapest, safest, most cost-effective way to go about that was to strap them to parachutes and throw them out of a plane. And we're gonna get into
it. I already love this idea already. Oh fuck, 1 second. Oh my god, excuse me. Alright.
Do it right after this ad, because I got bills. This video is brought to you by Conflict of Nations, a free online PvP military strategy game. It is based on a World War III type scenario where you get to pick your own country, or you can pick a state inside of the United States, because that's really the only way to make it fair for everybody else, otherwise America would be the instant win. Personally, I always start out as playing Iowa for obvious reasons, and my first order of business every single time is attacking Minnesota and turning them from Minnesota into Upper Iowa. They can't win a Super Bowl, and they're not going to win this battle. It's an easy W.
God, then I would take Indiana and I would invade immediately into Illinois. Fucking clean that shit right up.
But you don't have to attack. Remember, this is a strategy game. You can be diplomatic and form an alliance with another nation and work together. I mean, you could. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna build up my army with tanks, jets, and nuclear submarines and turn my attention to Wisconsin. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. The nuclear submarines are not super helpful in Midwestern warfare, but that's the type of flexibility that Conflict of Nations allows. I've already taken over Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes. I'm gonna put a nuclear submarine in every one of those lakes. Anyways.
Minnesota, and its state bird is the fucking mosquito. Wouldn't a great strategy be just send cats, squirrels, rabbits, or goldfish into an enemy's ecosystem? Yeah, I mean it would. But then you gotta deal with the consequences afterwards, sort of thing. So I'm curious if that's what they're doing, if they're doing it to destroy ecosystems, or if they're doing it like to sabotage power generation, things like that. Like the dams and such. So I mean, we'll see.
If you want to give it a try, it's available on both PC and mobile, and if you use my link and discount code down below, you're going to get 13,000 free gold and a free 1-month membership. Let's get back to the video. Alright, let's just take this from the top. Beavers, okay, one of my favorite animals. Why? Because I believe it is the animal that is most similar to humans, and I know what you're...
Most similar to humans. I don't know. Dolphins kind of get their... granted, there are a lot of other things that make them different from them. But I guess beavers, industrious, build their homes, use live in family units. I think what else would be it. I guess, I mean, of course he's going to answer it, but I wonder what else would beavers be? Well, I mean, they build dams, so, you know, their understanding of water mechanics is pretty good. You know, it'd be even better if they have animal rights activist group they actually listen to. It's fucking ecosystem to win, been done once and was almost stopped until the activists got involved. They're using tools? I don't know if they technically use tools or not. Buck teeth, I guess there's a lot of people that have buck teeth. I don't know. Let's see what he says for like being closest to humans.
You're gonna say, what about monkeys? What about apes? What about chimpanzees? They've all got thumbs and they poke shit with sticks and they eat bananas just like people do. That's fine. I understand that they're very similar to people, but beavers are the most similar to humans in spirit. We're the only animals on the planet with the audacity to walk into a new ecosystem and be like, wow, I hate everything about this. I could A, migrate, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go with option B and change everything about the world around me to make it suit me better and fuck everybody else. Now,
I mean, you know what? I do have to hand it to him. That is very accurate. That is very accurate for us and for beavers. And you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna say you're entirely right on that one. That is indeed accurate. Oh, God, the throat demons are trying real hard today. Yeah.
Do I enjoy the wetlands that beavers create with their dams? No, it's not my jam. However, game recognized game, because when a beaver sees running water and is like,
"You gonna do this? Okay, fine." That's all I needed for him to do that, and it became personal with me.
it's no different than when it's July and it's hot out and I decide to turn my air conditioner on so I can domesticate the wind so that my balls aren't hot, okay? It's about changing the environment around you rather than changing yourself. Okay, it's just that species-wide main character energy of
I do like that cat. That's actually fucking adorable. What is the rest of this? Okay, so this is definitely an artist's house. That's one of those hands for people that need the guide to draw hands. So, yeah, there's an artist there. An artiste, given the old turntables and everything. Oh my god. Beaver's basically like, fuck your waterway. Humans are fuck your whole area. It's a match made in heaven when I think about it longer. Yep. I gotta agree with him. I gotta agree with him.
I don't need to evolve anymore. I'm perfect how I am. I'm going to evolve the world around me to some shit that I like more. So, while I have a great childish respect for beavers, unfortunately for the beavers, between the 15, 16, 17, 1800s, their furs made dope-ass hats and they were really popular all across Europe, and the beavers were almost hunted to extinction for their pelts. Okay, and as I'm sure you can imagine, no beavers means no beaver dams means no wetlands, and no wetlands messes up the entire ecosystem. Okay, we can't have it. We gotta quit killing all the beavers. So, the early 1900s, people realized this. They put protections on the beavers and we quit trying to hunt them to extinction and actually try to help encourage their population to build back up. Okay, fast forward like 50 years, 1945, 1946, right around then, all the young men that went off and fought World War II are coming back home.
Okay, so this is post-war. Alright. So I thought this might be used in the war. This is post-war. Okay. So they're just going to use the military budget, basically, to relocate these beavers. Got it.
They got a bunch of money from fighting that war. They want to get a wife, build a house, have some kids, do people things. So they start expanding. And one of the places this happens in is a town called McCall, Idaho. And they start expanding and the town gets bigger and bigger. And eventually it displaces a bunch of beavers that have been out in the woods doing beaver things for hundreds of years. And these...
This is Fat Electrician. He's talking about Operation Beaver Drop, which I hadn't heard of. But this explains it a bit more of why I hadn't thought of it, because I had known about the cat bombs, the pigeon bombs, the chicken nukes, the bat bomb, which is incredibly effective. Yeah. Why did I thought the jacked guy was me? Nah, I don't know. I appreciate it though, but yeah, no, it is not. That is the fat electrician. I wouldn't say he's jacked. He's got dad bod though for sure. But yeah, so this is post-war, so this wasn't a wartime. This wasn't a wartime operation. It would have been more fascinating if it was a wartime operation, because I could totally see the same mad scientists that came up with the cat bomb to be like, yes, and we'll send in the beavers over into Germany, and then they'll dam up all the rivers, and that will destroy Germany's hydroelectric power systems. We'll send them into Norway as well, and then like the Norwegians like, fuck, what? The U.S. military rearranging nature for its own good since 1775. Yep, that's a good way to put it.
New beavers get displaced and they go out and they start fucking up a bunch of farmers' fields and irrigation systems, and it gets to the point that the people in the town are just going to start shooting these beavers because they're messing everything up. At this point, the Idaho Fish and Game Department, presumably also full of World War I and World War II veterans, steps in and like, no, we're not gonna kill these beavers. These guys are awesome. They do a lot for the environment. We're gonna take them. We'll move them somewhere else where they can thrive.
We're not killing beavers. We're just relocating them.
So here's the plan. They're going to capture the beavers alive. They're going to drive them as far as they can on roads, and then they're going to pack them in on horses and mules miles and miles into the wilderness where they're not going to be near any humans ever. And this is a complete disaster pretty much from the start. They capture the beavers alive, stick them in a cage, throw them on a truck, try to drive them hours and hours into the wilderness. This is really hard on them because beavers, they're a lot like me. I like to sit in my house in the air conditioning. They like to sit in their dams in the nice, damp, wet environment to keep cool. Beavers can't keep cool on the back of an unair-conditioned truck in the mid-1940s. A lot of them are getting heat stroke, they're passing out, they're dying, they quit eating, or they get super agitated and they're very combative the entire time.
Yeah, all that makes sense. Horse, why am I carrying you? Hell if I know. Yeah, it's just, I can absolutely see that. I wonder how many of these beavers, though, they tried this with before they realized how bad of an idea it was. Because I have a bad feeling that they tried it with a lot of them. And then they realized this was a very bad idea. So, yeah, who knows? Let's just find out.
Because they're hot. Then, even if the beavers do survive the truck ride, they're all pissed off and angry, and now they're getting strapped to a horse or a mule, and that pisses off the horse because he's got a bunch of angry beavers all over him, and now the horse is pissed off, and the whole thing just... it doesn't work. So now the Fish and Game Department is like, well, what are we going to do? We got to save all these beavers. We want to get them up in the mountains so they can build their wetlands. It's going to help protect the town from flash flooding. It's going to prevent erosion. It's going to be great for the environment. We got to save these guys. And one guy at the Fish and Game Department presumably is like, I got an idea. Hear me out.
I got an idea. Hear me out. This is how all of the best ideas in history have ever been hatched. A bunch of guys in a room talking, trying to solve a problem, and then one guy says, well, I got an idea. Hear me out. Oh my god. That's where we get so many innovations that come from this. Trying to solve a problem, and one guy has just that momentary stroke of genius that comes in, and it's like, yep, we're doing it. I don't care how autistic, how stupid, how retarded it sounds, we're doing it.
Out. We do have an awful lot of extra surplus parachutes from World War II laying around, and we've got a plane. Okay, now to us in 2024, this sounds insane, but you gotta remember, this is 1948, okay? There's no OSHA, there's no, rules and regulations, and it's in Idaho, which is basically the middle of nowhere at this point. Nobody's telling these guys what to do. A bunch of World War I, World War II veterans are like, huh, it's actually a pretty good idea, Jimmy. You know, it did work at Normandy, and the beavers aren't even gonna have Germans shooting at them, so pretty high likelihood they'll be fine. Let's try it.
Oh, gotta love that. It worked in Normandy, sort of. We realized the leg bags and stuff were fucking useless because the prop wash from the airplanes actually tore off the leg bags and so much equipment was lost. That was the whole That was the whole thing of just how much of a disaster the airdrop at Normandy was. So many things went wrong with it. It was a miracle that they actually managed to accomplish multiple things. The airdrop at Normandy was fucking atrocious. You had so many people that were running around with equipment that didn't have any weapons or anything to fight with. There was one guy who had nothing but grenades. Like, that was the only thing that saved him because his leg bag got torn away. There was the one story with McNasty. What was his name? McNeese. Something McNeese. But yeah, his nickname was McNasty. He would end up being like an amazing pathfinder. He was an incredible paratrooper. He only had his pistol, and the guy he found, the other airborne trooper he ran into, he only had a belt of machine gun ammunition wrapped around him and no machine gun. It was a total fucking disaster. It was the same thing in Band of Brothers does a thing about it too, where most of the paratroopers there also lost all of their gear because of the prop wash and everything from the airplanes. They were just flying too fast, and it not only scattered them everywhere, but also removed so much of their equipment. The glider troops were the ones that had all their stuff, thankfully. If a glider didn't meet Rommel's asparagus, that is. For anyone that doesn't know, again, tangentially related, we will get back to the video, but Rommel's asparagus were basically giant telephone poles that they put in all the fields, specifically to fuck up gliders. Rommel was again, a lot of people overdo his intelligence and everything like that, but he wasn't a dumb man by any means. It's not like a pendulum swing, the exact opposite. He had a lot of bravado and a lot of bravery, but he was also pretty smart. Not as smart as people make it out to be, because there's a whole thing where they wanted to show that the German people, the wisest amongst them, would resist against the Nazis, because Rommel resisted, but yeah, he had a lot of faults and foibles and things like that were wrong with him. But one thing he realized was his reinforcements of the Atlantic Wall was absolutely fucking incredible. And one of the things he did for said reinforcements was known as Rommel's asparagus. And these were just telephone beams that were put in the ground in all the fields. All of the farmers' fields and everything like that. So, this was done because the German troops also knew about gliders and everything like that, right? They already knew about how do paratrooper operations. They were the ones that paratrooped into Crete, for God's sakes. So, he did that. A lot of the gliders would impact these asparagus and kill everybody aboard, destroy all the equipment on board and everything. But a lot of gliders made it down to the ground safely, and they were able to offload their equipment and things like that. And that's where most of the equipment came from when it came to the Normandy drop. Rommel was a problem solver in a profession full of problems. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, his reputation does get exaggerated, but it's also, again, it's that people try to swing the pendulum the other way, right? Where because somebody's reputation was so exaggerated, they then try to take everything away from them. It's like, no. He had a bunch of stuff. He was a really good general. It's just he wasn't the mythical god figure that a lot of people make him out to be. Like, Montgomery is the one that tried to make him more of a larger-than-life legend, because Montgomery's failings can then be blamed on, I went up against the legendary Rommel, right? When in reality, like, Montgomery was just a dumbass. He was a typical military officer who fucked up basically everything he did. Same thing with people going against Heinz Guderian. Heinz Guderian, again, he was a smart man. He was a really good general, but he wasn't a mythical, legendary figure. Where most of his contemporaries were not so much problem solvers as paper pushers and politicians. Yeah, he was smart, but it was better for the Germans if he seemed better than he actually was. No, it was better for the Allies too. That's the other thing I wanted to point out. Was that, remember, the Desert Fox was coined because of General Montgomery, who was a British general, and he just wanted to coin it because it looked better and sounded better on paper if he was being beaten by a legend, not if he was just fucking up and being an incompetent general, which, to be fair, that was kind of British officers in a nutshell. Were incompetent, over their heads, just, I am a gentleman. What? What, cheerio, what for? You know, the fucking nonsense thing where being an officer in the British was was like a club, a clique. You were kind of nobility, so to speak. And that's kind of where the Percy Hobart story comes in as well. We already did that video a while ago, but Percy Hobart was kind of an outsider. He just believed in a meritocracy, not in this whole, like, what bloodline you came from meant you were a good officer horse shit. And the British Officer Corps did not like that, so they kept trying to get him removed. But yeah, that, if you want actual legendary figures, Percy Hobart would be one. It's kind of the same thing, too, where a lot of people overinflate Patton as well. Patton, like, had a ton of problems, but there are way better generals than Patton. So it's just one of those things, like, you know, again, I'm not taking everything away from him, because Patton was still a good general, but, like, let's be real, he wasn't the legendary mythical figure that people make him out to be. Oh my god, excuse me, the throat demons are trying extra hard today. Yeah, let us, the Brits were still the army which produced Haig, a man whose casualty rates practically redefined Pyrrhic. Yeah, fucking hell. Okay, back to the video, and welcome, Grindus. Good to see you.
So, first order of business, we got to develop a box that opens up once it hits the ground and gets the beavers to the ground safely. Pretty simple. It's basically two halves of a box with some holes drilled in it. They weave the rope through. Once the parachute lands, there's no more tension on the rope. The box just kind of falls open. The beavers get out and start doing beaver things. So first we're going to test it before we put any innocent beavers at risk. We're going to take some empty weights, put them in the boxes, go up in the plane, drop them over the practice field, see how it goes. Goes fine the first couple of times, okay. Let's try it with one beaver, just for practice. So they go ahead, they pick an older male. He's out of his breeding prime, potentially dangerous to some of the younger males. If something does happen, he's lived out most of his life. They name him Geronimo because they're a bunch of meatheads and that shit's funny.
Oh my god. Geronimo! Oh god. Yeah, I gotta agree though. I think that is kind of funny too, honestly. The time when fun was allowed. Yeah, exactly.
So they put him in a crate, they take him up in the plane, drop him off over the practice field from 800 feet. Geronimo makes it and survives. Now, obviously, we're not going to put all our beavers in one basket because of one successful test run. We need multiple test runs to be certain that this is going to work. And now that Geronimo is technically our lucky beaver, he's going to do it again. So he does. Geronimo does it again. And again. And again. And he keeps jumping. Like, more than 12 jumps this beaver makes. And
my god, he's more of a veteran of paratrooper jumps than a lot of paratroopers were. I think only, well, granted, if we don't talk practice jumps and everything like that, I think McNasty was the only one that had the most paratrooper jumps in World War II.
And by the end of it, the parks employees reported that Geronimo would actually run up to them and help them put him in the crate because he was ready to go again. Buh! This is animal abuse, and what if one of those boxes didn't open after the parachute landed? Buh! Okay, first of all, no it isn't. I've already went over the options. A, they could stay where they were at, being displaced, and end up getting shot by farmers for messing up their crops. B, they could spend days in transit on the truck and on a pack mule suffering and potentially dying. Or C, we could throw them in an airplane,
I love his tag already, the Band of Beavers. Oh, it's fantastic. And also Morning Rapar. Band of Beavers.
Fly them there in 15 minutes and then throw them out the side. They can get their jump wings while they're doing their Band of Beavers reenactment, okay? It's literally the best option. Okay, secondly, why are you worried about the box not opening? Like, did you think about this at all? It's a pine box, and that's a beaver, okay? Literally the only animal in the animal kingdom known for cutting down trees with its fucking face. I have the utmost confidence that if one of those boxes malfunctions, the Beaver is going to figure it out. All right, so now they have their Beaver delivery method. They develop a plan. They pick out a bunch of different locations all over this wooded area where they're going to be able to drop these beavers off in groups of like 3 to 5, 2 males, 3 females, 1 male, 3 females. Something like that, enough that they're going to be able to rebuild their own little colonies, but they're going to be spread out enough that they're not going to congregate into one thing, and it's going to be a humongous boost to the beaver population. This is what conservation's all about. So they get that all figured out, they have the plan in place, they know the delivery method, now they just got to go catch all the beavers. So they go back to town, catch them all, there's 76 of them. They take them back, they start loading them in crates.
Damn, 76 beavers, good God. That was a big beaver population, oh yeah.
And they're going to take them up in the plane and throw them out the side. And here's the best part about the whole thing. They filmed it.
Into the drop box.
I am so appreciative of the mad lads in history that decide they want to get pictures or they want to take footage of it, right? I always appreciate, especially these older battles, World War II especially, and this is post-war, mind you. This is 1948, right? But even so, I still appreciate when somebody is like, hey, wait a minute, we're doing something crazy here. Let's get this on tape. Granted, a lot of that actually came from pilots, right? A lot of it came from World War II pilots, and that's where you had the gunner cam footage. And that was so you could prove how many planes you got taken down. Because there was the entire thing of, like, you had to prove confirmed aerial kills, right? That's how you got your ace. That's how you got all of your kill markers and everything. You needed confirmed aerial kills. So, yeah, and there was one way to confirm it, which was other people saying that, like, yeah, no, I saw him shoot down that plane, that was absolutely his kill. I saw that guy shoot down that plane, that was absolutely his kill. You know, so on and so forth. Or you could get a film camera put in that would activate when you pulled the trigger on your machine guns and cannons, right? So that was a gun cam. And that would let you prove, like, hey, this is my gun cam footage for this this sortie and everything like that. And the reason that worked so well was because what a lot of people don't realize is you don't have a lot of ammunition aboard these things. It sounds like a lot on paper, but then you realize it's like 10 to 15 seconds of a continued burst, and then you're out of ammunition. Like, there's not a lot. You're basically tap firing, trying to hit a lot of these things. So you would have the gun cam footage. It wouldn't actually take up that much space. You didn't need like massive reels, because you only needed to have about 40 to maybe a minute of footage worth, just in case. Because then the gun cam footage would also extend a bit beyond when they let go of the trigger, just in case, you know, you got to see like the plane burst or things like that. So, yeah. Also, the Army had a post-war habit of being inordinately proud of the civic sector accomplishments. Like, this would be shown in schools. Oh, absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely.
Nearly ready for that flight back into the mountain.
And this is where you can really start to see that this is a different time. I mean, look at this app.
Hang on a second, hang on. This right here is what I want to get real quick. That guy, you could tell he's been wrangling beavers all day. So the moment that beaver stuck his head out, he just, like, not even turning his head, he just snapped his hand over, just, no, get back in the box.
Thing. They filmed it.
Into the drop box.
So, there we go, put the beaver in.
Flight back into the mountain.
And this is where you can really start to see that this is a different time. I mean, look at this absolute Chad just manhandling this beaver into that crate with no safety equipment, no gloves, no eye pro, nothing. If this were modern day, that guy would have leather protective gloves up to his elbow. He'd have safety glasses with a hard hat, with a face shield, with a leather.
He would look like the budget ordnance, explosive ordnance disposal. He would look like budget EOD. He would have protective gear everywhere.
Their apron. He'd have 2 dudes holding his hand while he did it just to make the safety guy happy. No, This is just some angry war veteran throwing a beaver into a box like it's another 8-hour workday. It's fantastic. That's it. They get the beavers loaded up on the plane takes off, they drop all the beavers in their designated drop zones. 75 out of the 76 survived. I don't know how they know this. I'm assuming they had people on the ground at the different drop locations to make sure the boxes opened, or that the...
I just want to know how the one died. But still, incredibly good survival rate. 75 out of 76 make it? Like, what happened to the one, though? That'd be the one I would be quite curious about.
Beavers made it or whatever, but apparently the one beaver that didn't make it had somehow either slipped through the crack when the rope was loose or eaten his way out of the box after they let it out of the plane, and the beaver was last seen standing on top of the box with the parachute above him, and he probably would have been fine, except when he got 75 feet off the ground, he decided to jump.
God damn it. Oh, the beaver left the box, and then his little beaver brain thought, hey, I'm 75 feet up from the ground, I can make that, and then he jumped. What a fucking... He was the slow one. He was the slow one in the beaver colony. He was the slow one for sure in the beaver colony. Oh my god. Oh, good God. That was the beaver that all the rest of the colony was like, yeah, no, we expected that from that beaver. Yep, that one in particular. Oh my God. That one beaver saw the Yanks about to get a perfect score and said, not on my watch.
So, on one hand, that's kind of sad, but on the other hand, natural selection. If the other 75 beavers figured it out and you didn't, it's probably on you.
Exactly. If literally everybody else figured it out except this one, and this one literally jumped to its death, like, I'm sorry, that's just Darwin right at work right there. I bet that beaver held up both middle fingers as it jumped.
Happier note, though, the boys at the Fish and Game Department decided to hook up their lucky beaver, Geronimo. This is posted in the Journal of Wildlife Management, Volume 14, Number 2, April of 1950. The article, Transplanting Beavers by Airplane and Parachute by Elmo W. Heater, Idaho Fish and Game Department, McCall, Idaho. And I quote, Geronimo had a priority reservation on the first ship into the hinterland, and that with 3 young females went with him. They had to hook up their boy. And he made it. Apparently they went to check in on him a couple years later, and his new colony was, and I quote, very well established. And Geronimo is...
See, Geronimo is the other scale of natural selection. He's the one that, he got everything. At the end of it, he lands on the ground, he's like, ah, yes, where are my bitches at? Girls like a commando. Yeah, he was regaling all those other beavers with, man, you guys made 1 jump. I made 12. This makes 13. Lucky number 13, am I right, ladies? Oh my God. Whew.
Not unique in that, because pretty much every drop zone ended up turning into a thriving beaver colony in the following years, because they kept tabs on this entire thing. And not only did it work, it was also super cost effective, because according to this journal, the cost of transplanting one of these colonies was $30. It was $2 for the box, $16 for the surplus cargo parachute, and the flight time, man hours, and fuel totaled to $12, for a total of $30 per colony. And just to be clear, that's the actual crazy part about this story. It's not the fact that they actually had airborne beavers to go save the environment. No, that seems pretty reasonable. The crazy part is that these guys back in the 1940s managed to get the job done, have fun, and record it, and they did it for like $300 to $500. Because we all know in modern times, if they wanted to do this, there'd have to be like a 15-year-long environmental impact study that costs the U.S. taxpayers $25 million just so that the government could determine that if you drop beavers off in the forest, they will in fact do what beavers do. And then once again...
That's, Well, we don't know if the beavers are actually going to do their job when they get there. They might be traumatized. It's, God... never put it past the government to fuck things up in spectacular fashion, all because they want to get extra money out of the taxpayers. Or to do something like the California Fish and Wildlife, which has now clarified that bees are fish, so that they technically have jurisdiction over bees. Because fucking why not? Jesus Christ. This is like, oh, God. By the way, I'm not joking about that either. The Fish and Game, they went after the designation on bees to make them classified as fish so that they could have jurisdictional authority over bees. Oh, God. Government bureaucracy never ceases to fucking amaze. Absolutely fucking wild.
The government goes ahead and says it is in fact okay to put beavers in the woods. It's going to take another 10 years for Lockheed Martin and Boeing to bid on the contract worth $100 million to relocate 100 beavers into the woods.
Is it just me, or was that the stupidest thing we've ever seen?
Sorry, I'm ranting.
Yeah.
In conclusion, the moral of the story is if it sounds dumb, but it works, it's not that dumb. And sometimes it's ridiculously cost effective to...
Well, again, I disagree in and of that sense. The saying is if it's stupid but it works, well, it's still stupid, but it worked.
Just let people do their job. Also, beavers are cool, and airborne beavers are even cooler.
Oh yeah, that's the other part that he didn't mention was the whole time that this is going on, the farmers have already gotten together and they've killed them all because, again, they're encroaching on farmland and, fuck beavers, right? So, by the time this actually gets approved, then, yeah, the beavers would not be a problem anymore because they wouldn't exist anymore. So, yeah. Yep, the mighty jingles.
And this has been the story of America's band of beavers.
For anyone that doesn't know, again, because Calbeck obviously knows, Mighty Jingles is a YouTuber, and he has a channel. He was an old veteran of the British Navy, and he does videos on, like, World of Tanks and World of Warships and things like that, and also talk a bit about history. He was the one that did a fantastic video about the... What made this video even more fantastic, Calbeck, this might shock you, is I'm actually in a Jingles video. So, I was playing a Japanese destroyer in World of Warships, and I totally clowned on the enemy team. Like, not even close. It was devastating. And this is the same video where he goes over the topic of the damned voyage of the Russian fleet. Yeah, it was pretty fun. So yeah, I like that video a lot. I wish he had talked more about the footage on it though, but that's just me, that's just me having pride. Oh, yeah, I've got to find that video again, because that was a lot of fun. It was the Tier 5 Japanese destroyer, and I totally clowned on the enemy team, like, devastating amounts. But granted, I'm also a destroyer main, so, I also know what I'm doing in destroyers, which a lot of people don't in World of Warships. Granted, it's been years since I've played now, but originally, I don't know where the saying comes from. I apologize, but there are statuses in World of Tanks and World of Warships and everything like that, where when you get to a certain percentile of skill, you get labeled what is called Unicum. Unicum. And then you have the one above that, which is Super Unicum. So basically, the top 5 percentile is Unicum. The top 1 percentile is Super Unicum. No, again, I don't know why. I don't know why it's called that. I don't understand. I don't know why it was called that, but that is what it is. You go between BBs and DDs depending on how angry or trolly I'm feeling that half hour. I have everything. I have the cruisers, battleships, destroyers, even some carriers, though I'm not really a big fan of the carriers. Just not my thing. Oh no, such as a one pump chump. Oh god. Oh god, no. Again, I don't know where the term comes from. Maybe that's something we should look up, where that term comes from. Let me let the video finish out, and then I'll go to the bathroom real quick, because it's one of those days, man. It's one of those days.
The airborne paratrooper beavers that went in to save the environment. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over to fatelectrician.com. Quack, bang, out. I didn't make a single vagina joke in that entire video. I'm finally maturing. Oh, and one more thing. Don't forget to go check out Conflict of Nations, okay? You get to pick your own country, mainly the United States. Otherwise, let's face it, you're just competing for second place. Don't forget to use my code down below to get the freebies. I'm going to go conquer Wisconsin. Why? Because they've got spotted cow beer, and I want some.
Maybe.
Sir, just so we're clear, the Angry Beavers is a kid's cartoon.
This is easily...
Oh no. Oh no. Alright, I will be right back a second, chat. I guess my my stomach today is just like letting me know it exists, apparently. So I will be RB. Alright, I'm back. Oh. Oofta. Okay, I'm going to lower the desk now. Okay, let's listen if there's any catch. There wasn't yesterday. Hey, buttons. My best rampage in World of Tanks was 9 kills on a Panzer II Alphas L. Nice. Whoa, he ran out of ammo. Yeah, that happens. That happens. Yeah, I had the tummy. So it was tummy time. That's what happens when you have IBS. And while I was up and about, I got myself another yogurt. The one invention that Dragonkind will always be thankful for humans for. Yogurt. Tasty. This one is orange cream. Orange cream, so good. Absolutely tasty. Okay, now, like I said, I want to look up, let's see, World of Tanks. Alright, so here we go. World of Tanks. What is Unicum and why would anyone let themselves probably be called it? So I ended up in the NA forum somehow, and I saw the word a lot, people calling themselves Unicums. These Unicums were also bitching about baddies and bads constantly. Two more to help us Unicums. A thing unique in its kind, especially a sole existing exemplar as of writing. Origin of Unicum. Unicus, sole, single, unique. Basically, they're saying they're the top of the player base, nearly unique examples of skill. Google, get out. That shit is hard. Well, there you go. Yeah. So, yeah, does anybody give the breakdown of it? No, the top, I'd say top 1% is what it was, would be the Super Unicum. So, in World of Tanks, you had Unicum and you had Super Unicum. And it's the same thing, it carried over, obviously, into World of Warships. So, there you go. There's Super Unicum as well. Let's see what this says. Yeah. Get frustrated when those who play for fun throw a game by being dumb and declare that win rate is random. Win rate does feel like it's random. Sometimes you can just get put on teams that are literally a lodestone. Like, it's one thing to just have dumb fun, right? That's why you play shit like the Kitakazi, things like that, where it's more torpedoes than sense. But no, there is such a thing as where it feels like you just get put on a team with a bunch of lemmings that have no idea what they're doing. They literally drive their ships into islands and things like that and get stuck, and they're just like, why? Again, you can hard carry, but sometimes you cannot carry enough. Right? There are times where you just cannot carry enough. Again, my record's probably gone down the toilet now. Let's see if I can do World of Warships stats NA. Okay, my ranking has probably gone down significantly because again I haven't played in years. Let's see if we might still have Unicum status though. Let's find out. Let's find out. We might not though because again, been so long since we played. Like obviously the player base, things will fluctuate a lot. Oh yep, nope, we're still Unicum status. I am almost Super Unicum in Destroyer. Yep. So yeah, so this is what I was talking about before. We're almost there. Submarine. Well, hey, it's a 0. Okay, yeah, I stopped playing long before submarines came in. Yeah, there you go. See, almost Almost Unicum in every single ship status, almost Super Unicum in Battleship and Destroyer. I really enjoyed World of Warships, but I just couldn't keep up with it. It was just one of those games where it's just like, man, I want to play it more, but I can't. Tasty, tasty. Foofta. At least those lemmings are throwing themselves off a cliff and it's not the documentary crew. Yeah, that's true. Sorry, just having my yogurts. This is fucking nostalgia. I can't believe we still have these ratings because it's been so long, right? I'm very grateful for that. I don't know, just kind of nice to have an old record of being really good at a game. I wonder how much I've forgotten, though. You know, in terms of, like, situational awareness, map control, and everything. Woofda. And it's not World of Tanks. A ton of people play World of Tanks. This is World of Warships. Which apparently is still going strong. I don't know about that, but apparently it is. This is my old rankings. I wonder if it has my top damage. Hold on. Oh, it doesn't have my top damage. It just has my average. Poop. Poop. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here's the other thing, too. A lot of people are like, man, you have a less than 50% survival rate. It's like, because I'm somebody that will play for the win and not play for personal glory. That's the same thing why I was, when I got on a team on World of Warships, I was somebody who, if the sacrifice of my ship would guarantee us a win, I would do it every time. World of Warships is World of Tanks, but slower with bigger guns. Kind of. It's quite a bit different for sure. I don't see why it wouldn't apply to 5th edition. But who fucking knows, honestly. It's Wizards of the Coast we're talking about here. They aren't known for being smart. Yeah, Abysmal, we mentioned that at the start of the stream. Yes, you know what, we'll do that video, too. We'll show that video on stream here. Yeah, you know, I'm just kind of happy here that, that our stats are still, real nice. This kind of makes me smile, honestly. God, though, people hated me when I played Destroyers, though, because I just knew how Destroyers work. It's going to be great. I have not heard that it's going to be ported at all. They might be trying to desperately port it now that an emulator is actually working. So here, again, this is early emulation for it. So this is not anything like crazy or groundbreaking or anything, right? This isn't gonna like blow your mind for like visual fidelity or anything like that. But what should blow your mind is the fact that this is a PlayStation 4 emulation. PlayStation 4 emulation working on PC at 60 FPS. Turn down a little bit because there's not a lot of sound stuff, right? See, so they don't have the lighting engine working. They've gotten the texture system working and a lot of texture streaming working, but they don't have the lighting engine correct yet. But already, This is just a short time period of people like, fuck it, we're gonna do it ourselves, right? Like, this is fucking crazy. So this is actual in-engine work on Bloodborne. This is the game engine itself doing the heavy lifting as it's supposed to with emulation. And already, again, as jank as it is, this is fucking incredible. This is absolutely incredible. Oh, you should see there was another video where you can have an unlocked frame rate. You can actually have it at over 120 FPS, and it works, but it's janky. It messes up the sprint. The sprint calculation gets messed up. At 60 FPS, it's fine. But the sprint calculation gets fucked up on at higher rates, right? Again, that's why, if you notice, that's why I lowered the volume, because there's not really, they don't have the sound system working correctly yet. It just does kind of audio ambience. But it's still, this is Bloodborne working on PC. Actual functioning. They just need to get it all sorted out properly, right? They just need to, oh god, what is it called? Optimize. They need to optimize its systems and everything. But it's already working. It's already functional. And this is only after a couple days of effort. It's fucking wild. Absolutely wild. Yeah, we don't need to watch the full thing. But here, this channel specifically is George Morales. Just posted it 16 hours ago. Like, holy shit. So it wouldn't surprise me if Sony is now desperately trying to get a port going because of how fast the emulation is going. Right? How fast the emulation creation is going. Wouldn't surprise me at all. And again, if Sony tries to do a cease and desist, I would absolutely ignore the cease and desist order and be like, no, you're going to take us to court instead. The reasoning why is because Sony has already shown that it has no interest in bringing Bloodborne to PC whatsoever. Right? So this is not a market replacement. We're not replacing anything. We are giving it to a market that you have not given any treatment to for this product. Yeah, I know. So, like I said, wouldn't surprise me if that's why Sony now, if they are going to do a port for Bloodborne, wouldn't surprise me. Because again, the PS4 emulator is going real fast. Yeah, I am genuinely excited for it. I'm interested. And again, it's the one PlayStation title they won't let get ported for some reason. That's kind of become like the running joke, the meme, right? Like PlayStation exclusive until it comes on PC. But the only one where that's true is Bloodborne. They just do not want to bring Bloodborne to PC for some unknown fucking reason. I don't know why. It's just really fucking weird. Well, Demon's Souls you can already play on PC through emulation. The PlayStation 3 emulator was specifically created to play Demon's Souls. And then, of course, everybody just ported all the other games because why not? You've got the emulator working already. But originally, it was created specifically to play Demon's Souls. At this point, either Sony lost the tools to port or do anything with Bloodborne, or they just hate Bloodborne for some reason. I have no idea. No idea why. We can't do this. It would require an entire new studio, marketing division, cost overhead. Trust me, it would not on... not for Bloodborne. You wouldn't need to market shit. You would just need to... Literally, if you want to sell at minimum... like 3 million copies of Bloodborne on PC, all you have to do is do the original Bloodborne trailer, just a little bit of the first footage, and then cut to a single thing that says, now coming to PC. That's all the marketing you got to do. We're not even talking like a hard day's labor. We're talking like 30 minutes of work. And that's it. That's all you got to do. And I guarantee you, you're at least getting 3 million sales immediately. Like, holy shit. Yeah, once the PlayStation 4 emulator for Bloodborne is done, then all of their stuff can be emulated. Exactly. Once they finish getting Bloodborne working, it's going to fucking work. It'll be just everything else will come in. Market coding. I can do it over the weekend for $30. Yeah. Hell, if I was market coding, I'd be like, I can do it over the weekend for, give me $100 and I'll do the entire thing. You know, don't sell yourself short. You give yourself a little bit of give yourself a little bit of that cash, King. Oh. Again, you wouldn't even have to pay for actors. This is literally just take the original Bloodborne trailer, and then just splice in now available or now coming to PC, you know, and then bam, that's all you got to do. All you got to do. Don't need anything else. God, now I kind of want to watch the original Bloodborne trailer. So, Bloodborne reveal trailer. Oh God, look how crusty that looks. Woo, that's crusty. No wonder it's only got 77,000 views. That looks fucking super crust. Alright. Yep, 10 years ago. 10 fucking years. We've been trying to get Bloodborne on PC. Turn up a little bit. Oh, I've already felt ancient. That's the weirdest part about this whole Sony thing. This is literally just millions of dollars just laying there. Just laying there in the open. There's no traps. There's nobody guarding it or defending it. No. It's just sitting there in the open. That's right, Great Worm. Feel old. No, in terms of dragon terms, I wouldn't even be that. I'd still technically be a whelp, which is unfortunate and frustrating. Once you pass 100, that's when you are no longer designated as a whelp. Then you get to at least be a proper dragon status. Gotta wait there. Again, you can literally take this trailer. This trailer would be perfect for it. No! I hate it. I hate it. Why's it gotta be 100, huh? Why can't it be lesser than that? Like, whelp makes it sound like you're just a little babby. Yeah, this nostalgia's hitting me real fucking hard too. It really is. It's just an incredible trailer. And again, you just take this. I would show you the part I would actually put it in at specifically. So we'll get to that part, and then this is where I would put it in. Right there. I would just slot in right here with her because she's going to rise up in intensity, right, in her vocals. Just put in right here, you know, coming to PC. That's it. All you got to do. Literally it. Just literally put in text, coming to PC. That's all it is. You don't have to change anything else. Actually, no, I would make one other change. Again, we're talking about 30 minutes of work. That's like 5 minutes of work. So 30 minutes of work. Right here at the very end, I would have the Steam logo pop up, right? So, Bloodborne, do your PlayStation 4 logo and stuff like that. Do your Steam logo. And then, once again, iterate, coming to PC. That's it. That's all you gotta do. That's not gonna cost you anything for marketing. And I guarantee you, that's all you need. That's it. You would be making fucking millions just with that. This is something you know. You have a built-in audience that is ravenous for it. They want it. They want it now. This is something that is really right up their alley. Speaking of old, it's almost time for my 5-hour nap before terrorizing people. Again, you could just make the intern do the work. Yeah, exactly. It's literally just, you know, whoop, I'm going to pop on a PlayStation logo, I'm going to pop on a Steam logo, coming to PC, right there again, to reiterate it. And that's it. Done. Trailer's done. It's all you need. God, though, how fucking cool. This trailer was just so fucking cool to see, though. Because it was something so different from what we were used to with From Software, right? This looked so different in comparison. A lot of people thought it was going to be Shadow Tower. No. That was Sekiro, I forgot. Shadows Die Twice. A lot of people thought that was going to be Shadow Tower again. What is that sound? Sounds like an old tank is coming by. Sounds like a... Hold on. It is a tank, basically, walking by. Oh. Good lord. Oh, there you go. Yeah, it was a, like, I don't know what way to describe it, but basically it had, like, massively long pillars going down to tracks on each pillar. I don't know what it is. No, it's not even a tractor. It doesn't look like a tractor. It's literally like, it's a machine that's up that might have like a crane on the front of it, potentially. I'm not positive on that. And then it has 4 like I-beams going down towards the road that keep it suspended like 5 or 6 feet up off the ground. And then at the end of those I-beams are tank tracks on each one of the beams. It's fucking weird. Really, really fucking weird looking. The Killdozer. Oh, fucking, I've never seen a thing like that. I don't even know what it is. Well, see, I don't think it's a crane. I'm just thinking crane-like. It looked like maybe a conveyor belt thing on the end. Not positive. Looked weird. I mean, I don't know if you can hear it, but I can hear it. Oh, it's very faint on OBS. OBS isn't picking it up. But you could hear the typical construction reversing the boop, 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 boop the whole time there for a bit. I wonder if that's the thing that's going to fix the pole in the backyard. I don't know if they've finally got the gumption to do it or what, but that was was the first time I've ever seen a thing like that. Anyways, back to the trailer. Just the very end of it. It might be for the poll. It might be. I don't know. I don't know. I just, I hear it. It's, again, I can still hear it. I can still hear the backup sound going. But yeah, this, the thing that was so incredible about the, about Bloodborne, what got people so hyped was because there was something so different about it. It was something, it was a FromSoft game, but everybody kind of knew FromSoft. At this point, what made FromSoft famous was because of Demon Souls and Dark Souls, right? So this was something that was going to be completely different. It was going to be wildly different. Most people have forgotten that Armored Core was FromSoft. Or that FromSoft had actually worked on Steel Battalion as well. I feel bad for FromSoft Steel Battalion game. Hold on a second. Hold on. What was it called? It was Steel Battalion. What was it called? It was the kind of VR one, right? And it did not do well at all. Yeah, I heard that Acolyte got canceled. Thank God, too. Let's see. From Software, Steel Battalion. It was heavy armor. Okay, that's what it looks like. Yep. Developed by From Software. Yeah, this was not well received at all. Yeah, this was the one that needed the Kinect. I remember now, yeah, because you actually interacted with, your crew. Yeah, it wasn't VR. Yeah, I can't afford it, McCanal. I can't afford it. Not if I want it. Again, I can't keep spending a bunch of money. We've got to keep saving money because we've got to get the model and everything, right? So I can't afford to do Wukong. Because we have to get Space Marine 2. We've already got Space Marine 2 slotted. Yeah, that was the Kinect game. Yeah, and it did not, it was not well received, unfortunately. Well, again, if you do, you need to tell me what your donation goes towards as well. That's part of the thing. You donate, and then you get that as like a thank you. You can put it towards anything. Yep, this is the controller. The Steel Battalion had the massive controller. Hold on a second. Steel Battalion controller. This is the Steel Battalion controller. This is what you use to play the game. Really fucking cool system, honestly. No, I'm not going to pirate it. I specifically want to support Black Myth Wukong because they told the woke the mental illness mafia to go fuck themselves. That's why I absolutely want to support them for it. Thank you very much, McCanal, for your $60 support. What do you want that to go towards? What bounty do you want that to go towards, McCanal? Again, this I just find really fucking cool. I really do. Yep, it is the biggest controller ever released for a console. Is the money amount listed underneath how much that has been donated so far, or the amount you need to get that game? It's how much has been donated so far. That's what it is. So that's a sliding bounty. It keeps going up until they hit the threshold. And again, you don't have to do that all at once. That's no matter how long it takes, even if it takes you years to get up there, it will be done once you hit the threshold. Can't pirate Black Myth Wukong because of Denuvo. No, you absolutely can. Denuvo is not a barrier to piracy. It never has been. It is not a barrier to piracy in the slightest. In fact, the game will actually run better when you do pirate it. Anything that uses Denuvo, it is much better to pirate it. No, it absolutely is not. That Denuvo gets cracked all the time. Sure, it'll be uncrackable for like I'll give it 2 weeks. I think that's the longest time it's taken somebody to crack Denuvo before. So I'll give it 2 weeks before the crackers get it. Before the crackers get it? Oh. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, this is just gonna look like the drone program. Hang on, let's see. Military drone controller. I don't know if that'll have it or anything. No, that's the handheld version. Here we go. This. So yeah, no, not far off, honestly. Really. Threshold for Hollow Knight will just be the standard, so 300 to play it once, 400 to just finish it. Again, like I said, this is you build up to it. You don't have to drop it in one fell swoop. Nobody does. Well, I shouldn't say nobody does. Peter dropped it all in one fell swoop to do Saints Row. Holy shit. That's what got us the PC upgrades and everything, too, so that way we could do more stuff, more games on the stream and everything. Have the streams look better and run better. That was because of Peter and Threadnought. I shouldn't say, like, I don't mean to keep Threadnought out of it, because Threadnought's the other one that did as well, but it's just Peter did it in one huge lump sum. So it was a flop, and the controllers didn't sell as well as they were expected to. People ended up returning them, which caused people to basically be able to pick them up on the cheap. Yeah. But again, you know, not bad. Not a bad look for this. Peter's the real hero. Well, yeah. Yeah, Peter's absolutely the real hero. He made me play fucking Saints Row. Yep. I'm looking forward to Indigo Prophecy. Because that's a game, I'll try and get as many people there as possible for it. Because it is genuinely worth it. Yeah, that was the Saints Row reboot, the remake. Or sorry, the reboot franchise. The god-awful, infamously terrible Saints Row game. That also destroyed that company. Thank God it did, because they deserved it. Like Indigo Prophecy, yeah. Beyond Two Souls now, please don't. No, it was that bad. It was genuinely that bad. They fucking got what they deserved. That game was absolutely atrocious. I don't think there was anything salvageable from that game either. I don't think there's anything you could take from it that was like a good idea or a good mechanic. Again, whataboutism doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that there are worse games. What matters is that game was dog shit. Whataboutism, who fucking cares? Oh god, I don't know how you think. I guess fun is subjective, because yeah, that gameplay was probably the worst part of it. Fucking, oh god, especially the enemies that could stop bullets. I just got to do my little dance here with my fucking glow sticks. That's so fucking stupid. Oh my god. Oh. God, that game was just so fucking shit. The devs were calling gamers who were criticizing the game terrorists. Yep. Again, you will never find more entitled people in the world than game developers. Never. Ride to Hell, no, it's not Redemption, it's Retribution. But yeah, Ride to Hell Retribution, There But For the Grace of God is absolutely. Again, that is one of the games, genuinely awful, dog shit game I love it though, because it's so bad. Like, it's one of those games where they knew their main character was a moron and they wrote him to be a moron. He does some of the most stupid, idiotic, inane nonsense you can imagine. But the developers were kind of in on the joke of him being stupid. It's just that the gameplay was also terrible and everything. Like, there's nothing else to support it. The only interesting thing about Right to Hell Retribution was the fact that the writers knew that he was dumb. Writers knew the main character was less stupid. Far more inflated sense of entitlement than game developers. Which one? Who? Game journalists? Oh, yeah. Game journalists are another one. But game developers, they feel like they can get away with being entitled because they put in the work, right? It's just like, ugh. No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You remember the pain I had with the train level? Kree's got nothing on the pain I did, where I had a guaranteed crash for the cutscene every single time and had to replay that train level multiple times. The only way I got around it was by actually skipping the cutscene the moment it started, and then I could get on to the next level. Bethesda also writes their characters to be morons. No, they don't. Again, I'm not going to give Bethesda credit for that. Bethesda thinks their characters are clever. Their characters are actually morons. Bethesda thinks that they're clever, intelligent, rational people with a lot of philosophical things to say. Right to Hell Retribution, they knew going in the character was a moron, and they wrote him specifically to be a moron. Ooh. They must be doing full-on road work here soon, because that was a roller. What are they called? I keep on calling them steamrollers. That's just silly. But I don't know. It's one of those big old rollers that just went by. That was funny. No, that was not funny. That was terrible. That was awful, because I had to redo that train level multiple times. Doesn't that seem weird, though, that they're still called steamrollers? Like, when they don't use Steam? What's worse, Starfield or Saints Row 2022? That's a tough call, because they're both utterly irredeemable. Like, they're both just absolutely horrible. I guess maybe that is the thing, is Starfield being so hopelessly, like, mediocre at its best still beats Saints Row at its best. So I guess I'd have to say Saints Row is worse than Starfield. I have to say that. I guess that would be true. No, Bethesda did not get away with it. Again, Microsoft closed down multiple studios for just how bad Starfield did, and how bad Starfield was received. Oh, also, sorry, somebody did ask earlier if there was a game, a third-person game that gives you the same freedom as Baldur's Gate 3, and I don't think so. I don't know. Nothing I can think of anywhere remotely has the same level of flexibility and freedom that Baldur's Gate 3 has. Baldur's Gate 3 is getting official mod support soon on consoles as well. Yep. And it's going to be Larian. Larian's going to do what they did with the Divinity series, where they gave official mod tools, and they're not just like Steam Workshop or anything like that. No, they'll be full-on, actual, like, their own modding program and everything. Like, they'll actually have their own modding system. And what Larian did with the Divinity games and their official mod support was they actually did tutorials on how to do, like, the basic stuff to get people in the ground running to start creating new projects. Baldur's Gate 3, Dragon Age Origins, and Fallout New Vegas. Fallout New Vegas, I guess, does have a lot of choices, but you can't really go off the beaten path as much as you'd want. It's still pretty heavily scripted. That's the thing. Baldur's Gate 3 has a lot of, like, unexpected gameplay elements. It has emergent gameplay. That's where the whole, you know, having your owlbear, loading him down with shit tons of stuff so he can't even move, and then having him jump from the fucking top rope to instant nuke a single boss. That's where that comes from. Dragon Age Origins, I absolutely would not say that about. You don't have a lot of freedom with Dragon Age Origins. If I would say if there was an overrated RPG, it would definitely be Dragon Age Origins. Just absolutely. It's not as incredible as people think it is, but then again, I've played a lot of BioWare games, and it was the BioWare cliches everywhere in it. Like, it's not bad. Again, being overrated does not therefore mean bad. It just means that it gets way too much love, right? Like, it's a good game. It's competently put together. Its story is good, but it's not the legendary, like, second coming of RPGs that people make it out to be. Absolutely not. It's pretty shallow, honestly. Oh no, the most overrated, I guess, would have to be Skyrim, because it's not even an RPG. Like, it's fucking not. Holy shit. It tries to. It wears the veneer of one, but it is definitely not. The DLC for it was good, though. Warden's Keep was good. Is Oblivion an RPG? I'd say it is, but it's a lesser RPG for sure. What's it you like to refer to Skyrim as? A first-person shooter with swords. Yeah, basically. Oblivion, they still had some RPG depths. Again, the thing I liked in Oblivion was the fact that your skill level at swords, for example, would actually allow you new moves and things like that because you became skilled in swords. But Morrowind is an actual RPG. That one gives you so much freedom and capability to do what you want, to actually be the character. Oh god, I don't know if I can actually do that in song form, Calbeck. Maybe we'll do Ord as well. I tried so Ord and got so far, but in the end it doesn't even matter because I made a shitty game. There you go. Little bit of improv on it, but there you go. Try to make it fit the song better. Are the Witcher games RPGs? Yes. That one is a very specific type of RPG because you are specifically playing Geralt of Rivia. God, I actually liked in Witcher 3 that it did take into account stuff that happened in Witcher 1 and Witcher 2. I actually liked that quite a lot. Yeah, Draco's a better singer. Wow! Rude. One thing I like about Skyrim that no other game series did before was the perk system. Oblivion was basically dipping their toes in the water, having mandatory perks at every 25 skill levels. I disagree because the perk system in Skyrim is awful. Like, genuinely terrible. Again, think about what a lot of the perks are. Like, oh, your sword now could potentially, what was it, sword? I think axes were the ones that did bleed. Had a chance to bleed somebody. Maces ignored armor, and so on and so forth. Like, Again, and they were really stupid, like 10%, 20% now. Whoa, doesn't that feel so much better? It's like, no, this is kind of lame. This is stuff you should get from leveling up the weapon in and of itself. Like, you should become more effective with the sword by leveling up the sword, not by leveling up the sword and then spending skill points into that level up. And if you don't, you're still as terrible with the sword as anybody just starting out, which is fucking mind-blowing. Like, just awful. You're not, your time isn't being respected. And remember, this is also a game that does the scaling leveling system, which is absolutely awful. Genuinely awful. So, like, if you were like, I'm going to go do some blacksmithing, right? I'm going to do blacksmithing, and I'm going to level that up. Well, congratulations, you leveled up. Now you're getting it. I played Baldur's Gate 1 way back in the day, but I don't remember how far I got in or if I did actually beat it. Don't remember. Did not do Baldur's Gate 2. That's more when that was more when I was getting into like Age of Empires and Half-Life and stuff like that. No, incorrect, Froy. Absolutely incorrect. Again, especially if you try it on the legendary difficulty, that was fucking painful as shit. Ugh. And it's kind of like what happened to me, Grindness, in Divine Divinity, which is the first game in the Divinity series most people don't even know exists. So you have Divine Divinity, you have Beyond Divinity, then you have Divinity 2, which was Ego Draconis, then eventually changed to give Flames of Vengeance, and then the Dragon Knight Saga. Then the, what was it? The Director's Cut, I think? Yeah. Then you have, then you get Divinity Original Sin 1, which is where everybody... That's where Larian really became like more of a household name, was because of Divinity Original Sin 1 and Divinity Original Sin 2. And then you had Divinity Dragon Commander was in there as well. I can't remember when Divinity Dragon Commander released, but I liked that game a lot. Though it was pretty much baby's first RTS sort of thing, right? Yeah. Yeah, I like Divinity Dragon Commander. Hang on, I'm gonna see if there's a thing for it. Oh, that was one of the big mechanics for Dragon Commander. Was not just your generals you could get, but your wives. Because you could have wives. One of your wives was literally a dead skeleton. Oh, God. Just absolutely. Just, wow, what a game. The whole thing about Dragon Commander, oh my God, TB. God, sir, we still need you around in this industry. But the interesting thing about Dragon Commander wasn't the fact that it was the RTS stuff. Also, the RTS was great because, look at this. You're a dragon that gets a jetpack, for God's sakes. Holy shit. Yes, there was a dwarf wife in the game as well. Lizard wife was the best waifu, though. But yeah, you could, you were a dragon with a jetpack on. And, but the whole RTS was kind of second fiddle to the political intrigues and the other mechanics in the game, right? So as part of the political intrigues, you had to take a wife. Like, that was to cement your legacy and your alliance with one of the races. You needed to take a wife. And so you had a choice between the different races. You had a dwarven wife, an elven wife, a skeleton wife, a lizard wife, and there was the fifth one. What was the fifth one? I think it's just generic human. I'm pretty sure it's just generic human. Let's see if there's a... Is there a trailer for it? Oh, here's the trailer. Again, ancient fucking game. A lot of fun, though. We're gonna go through it. Oh, that's right! The imp! Yeah, and she didn't make it, and they put a news headline that she got, like, murdered or something, right? Like, as I remember, you could have a news article pop up about the imp, and they were, like, devastated because she got killed or something. No? Oh, what was that article about then? Because I remember I was talking about how imps everywhere were devastated on it.
Welcome, recruit, to the Dragon Commander Academy. Sit down and listen.
By the way, that is not your lizard wife, by the way. That's just the, that's the lizard diplomat that has come to be a part of the council. Yes! She died during a game of long fuse, short fuse. There it is.
Listen up, for you've a long way to go yet before you'll be worthy of your title. Now, on your ship, you'll be surrounded by princesses, politicians, and other assorted parasites.
Wow! Wow! Again, not having watched this trailer in so long, it's funny that she says parasites and she shows some of the generals that work for you. By the way, his storyline, I actually loved his storyline so much. To kind of, like, tame his arrogance, and he becomes, like, your best general. Easily. Hands down. He will win everything. You send him on a mission, and he will fucking win. It's fucking wild.
Listen to their advice, but don't let them manipulate you.
Oh, shit.
You are the commander, not them. Don't forget your studies of the art of war. And don't neglect the benefits of new technologies. Play your cards right and outsmart your enemies by moving your armies about with great military cunning. When in battle,
So what I did to continue the storyline was I got to the final battle, right? And I wanted to continue the storyline. I wanted to keep getting more adventures with my generals and with the diplomats, everything like that. I want to see how it all went out. So I just surrounded the final territory, the final capital, and just shit tons of military units. Just all around it. There was nowhere they could go. They had to attack my military units, no matter what. And so they were just stuck there, and I would just go through and, like, you know, save the turn, save the turn, save the turn. I just keep going.
Yourself, close coordination between your land, air, and sea forces is imperative. You have at your disposal formidable forces, but screw up and we'll all end up as demons chewing toys. So think and strategize to win the day.
Oh, and then this is the part that made it so fucking cool, right? This is the part that made this so fucking cool of an RTS, was not just all the political intrigues and things like that going on in the background, but you had this, where if you decided, and this was in the multiplayer as well, if you decided fuck it, you would throw hands yourself. This is what happened.
By the by, since you're a dragon after all, do use your arsenal of unique powers from time to time. Nothing like a barrage of searing fireballs to seal the deal. And in case you need practice...
Well, third person in an RTS game, yep. Which I've always been a fan of. Because there are games like that where one person is playing the RTS and all the other players in the game are playing like a third person hero shooter, kind of. Like, I like games like that.
And you will. You can always take on other Dragon Knights to hone your skills. You probably won't last much longer than the others. But perhaps you'll surprise us and lead us to victory. Give it a shot, why don't you? Larian Studios presents Divinity Dragon Commander.
I love that game. I love that game so much. Again, it was very much baby's first RTS, but you know what? I enjoyed it. A lot of it because of the political intrigues and schemes, the storylines for all the different generals and your wife, whoever you would pick. Like, genuinely a fantastic game. Lots of fun. Those damn snitties. Yep. It was just a lot of fun. And I like the fact that you could descend from the command ship. So your whole thing, the whole game, takes place from the perspective of your command ship looking over the battlefield. Right? And then you would literally, like, if you decided fuck it, you would just drop out like a fucking superhero, spread your wings, and you'd go to town, just destroying everything. Lots of fun. Yeah, I agree with Gorianus. The stuff on the Raven, which is the name of the capital ship, was a lot better than the RTS part. Absolutely. Was it the Open World RPG? The one was so good. No. You had Divinity 2. So you have Divine Divinity, which is the original. And then you have Beyond Divinity, which is the sequel to the original. Then you have Divinity 2, which is the technical, like, sequel to both the first and second games. Again, it gets weird. The timeline gets very complicated very quickly. Then you had from Divinity 2, which Divinity 2 was known as Ego Draconis. You then had Flames of Vengeance, and then you had the game that wrapped both of those together, which was Dragon Knight Saga. Then you had Divinity Original Sin 1 with Dragon Commander. I can't remember if Dragon Commander came first or Divinity Original Sin came first. One of these two came first. Yeah. So you had one of those come out. Divinity Dragon Commander takes place before... this takes place back before Divinity 2, but I think after Divinity, Beyond Divinity, I think? I'm trying to remember the timeline here, because it's very specific, because you get specific people in this, like Maxos is in this. But then you might also be saying, like, wait a minute, but you have all this, like, high technology, right? You like dragons with jetpacks and power shields and things like that, and tanks and stuff. Yeah, at the end of Dragon Commander, in order to protect the world and ensure your throne, your dominion over the world, your dragon literally destroys all technology, which makes the one imp who was working with technology and really happy with technology really fucking sad. He's heartbroken because the dragon, like, is like, nope, now all technology must go away. Fuck right off. We've won the war. No, we're not having all this laying around, these fucking, like, world-ending threats laying around. Nope, not happening. Yeah, no, I know it's pre-Divinity Original Sin, but I'm trying to remember which game released in what order. Because originally, the timeline was normal, and you had Divine Divinity go to Beyond Divinity, and then Divinity 2. Timeline is still congruent. And then when we get to Divinity Original Sin and Divinity Dragon Commander, now we're starting to get the timeline be messy. Because they shift in this place in the timelines. Yeah. Then you had Divinity Original Sin 2, which takes place long after, I want to say... When does 2 take place? Fuck, when does 2 take place? I want to say 2 takes place right before Divinity 2? DOS 2, I think, takes place before Divinity 2? I'm trying to remember if that works. You meet Patriarch in Divinity 2. Oh my god. Oh my god. I need to reference the fucking timeline again of where each game takes place in. It's fucking wild. Divinity 2 is the last on the timeline. Alright, thank you. Yeah. However, it might not be last for long because Larian has announced they're going to be working on a new game they're not doing Baldur's Gate 4. They're going to be working on a new one. So yeah, that will be very interesting because I want to see more stuff in the Divinity universe. I think the Divinity universe is actually really fucking cool. I've always liked the Divinity universe, and I've kind of liked its kind of off-brand humory stuff too in it. No, what would be crazy, Froy, is if the new sci-fi game was still in the Divinity universe. It was just Divinity way in the future. That would be genuinely interesting, but who knows? It could be DOS 3, but I would kind of like it if they didn't keep with the Original Sin thing, because Original Sin in the title works with both of those two games, right? It works well. I don't know if you could do a hat trick and have Original Sin still work in a third game, like be thematically relevant. Would Divinity work well as a tabletop setting? I think it would. I think it'd be fucking fantastic. Yeah, that's true. Fallen Heroes was on a back burner for a long time. That would be fun as well. If they did an action-adventure one. Ooh, you know what? Hang on. This was a year ago. Mortismal. Whoop. Let's see this. Okay, so this is Mortismal Gaming. He did a bunch of videos on Baldur's Gate 3. That's how I know of him. So, yeah. A band of snizzard adventurers. Well, the Lizard Empire is probably the strongest single entity in the Divinity verse. And then, given what we know about Divinity Original Sin 2, that it kind of explains why they're the most powerful empire. Yeah, and also explains a lot of things about them, actually. Yeah, here we go. I'll be curious what his ranking things are. Alright, let's think about this. What would we rank as the worst Divinity game? Right? For anybody else that's played all of the Divinity series, which there's a lot of games in it, what would be the worst one? I might have to, because the RTS mechanics were so baby's first RTS, it might be Dragon Commander as the worst. But the story and everything else, the story and the political intrigue carries that game really hard. And it is really good. And then you have the original Divine Divinity, which was kind of a Diablo-style game, right? Yeah, well, I mean, it also makes sense why the lizards do it, too, when you realize what the lizards actually are. Then that gets revealed in Divinity Original Sin 2, whereas the lizards are dragons, right? Sorry, spoilers, but the lizards are dragons. They are dragons that have been stripped of their ancestral birthright. And that's part of what makes the Red Prince so dangerous to the world, is because if the Red Prince mates with the Red Princess, they will get their ancestral birthright back. At least the red dragons will come back. It's pretty solid. The Divinity franchise, I'd say, it's pretty solid through all out. That's why I'm having struggles thinking about what is the worst Divinity game. Like, again, worst for Divinity games is still really good. But which one would be the bottom of the list? And I'm gonna do my list before, we get into his and his reasoning. I think I would have to put Dragon Commander as the worst because the RTS was so babby, right? But everything else about the game was fantastic. All of the character interactions, all the stuff as Brian has said on the Raven was fantastic. All of it. But the gameplay in and of itself was pretty rough. It was like the RTS was very simplistic, very simplified. probably Divine Divinity I would put lower on the list. While the story was good, they had a lot of good humor and everything in it. The gameplay had a lot of issues. And, though there was a really cool gameplay moment that I actually liked, where you got the teleporter pyramid, and it warned you, like, because you don't know where the other half of the teleporter pyramid is, you shouldn't use it until you find the other half. But you could use it anyways, and then you would be teleported into a room with a bajillion fucking skeleton monsters that would kill you. I mean, you could fight them. Good fucking luck. Because when you got it, you were really early level. But you could then work your way through the catacombs and find the second one. That was really handy. Granted, with that, I just kept that at town. Like, I would go to a town, and I'd grab it, and put it in a place, and then I could just teleport back to town, easy peasy. It was very handy for that. So, yeah. But its in-game was very rough. Like, when you actually ascended as the Divine, and you had to fight the Demon Horde properly, they uncapped everything. Like, that was where rooms could be filled with, like, 600 demons. That was a bit of a ball ache at the end. So that was rough. So there's another gameplay letting it down. So I'd say probably Divine Divinity would be second from the bottom. Maybe I'd put Divine Divinity at the bottom itself, because I'm reminding myself of that ending. That ending section is fucking brutal. Yeah. Holy shit. And by the way, they are not like simple demons. They are strong fucking demons. Very strong demons. So I'd probably, maybe Divine Divinity at the bottom. Divinity Dragon Commander right above that. Divinity, I would put Beyond Divinity next. So third from the bottom would be Beyond Divinity. Again, just cause its gameplay hasn't aged well, but its story is still really fucking good, really fantastic. It turns out the Death Knight you are associated and directly linked to is actually Damien himself. Is actually Damon. Or I think it's Damon? Or is it Damien? Fuck. It's one of the two. But no, it turns out it is actually him. And unfortunately, by you helping break the contract, you've set him free now. But that does also kind of set up for a thing later in Divinity 2. So I kind of like that. Also, that's what starts the whole thing of revealing why Damien is such an evil piece of shit. Because he was raised by the Divine, so he shouldn't be. But then that's where the song comes in, where his father kills him. So the Divine literally kills Damien. Yeah. So that gets pretty fucked up. Again, there's a lot of the Divine isn't the all being good that like you would associate it with. He does a lot of fucked up things, like murdering all the elves. That was a big one. But yeah. Whew. So again, Beyond Divinity at third from the bottom. Probably. It's tight, with a really good story, but I'd probably put Flames of Vengeance, Divinity 2 Flames of Vengeance next, and then I'd put Divinity 2 Ego Draconis above it. And then I'd put DOS 1, I think DOS 1 comfortably sits second from the top, and then DOS 2 is the top, for sure. I think that's the best way to put it. It was fun to see Belagar in DOS 1, though. That was a lot of fun. Oh, a long, long time. Divinity as a franchise has been going for a long time. Sven Venka went through and he explained originally... Like, let's get the actual thing. Divine Divinity. 2002 was the initial release date. So yeah, it's been going for 22 years now. long franchise, long series with a lot of stuff in it. But when his team made Divinity, he got told by a German publisher, right? So a German publisher came out and said, no, the game Divinity won't sell. Nobody will buy Divinity because it doesn't have alliterative appeal. For anyone that doesn't know what alliterative appeal is, it means like two words that start with the same consonant. So the Lizard League of Looters, that has alliterative appeal because it's all L's. Same thing with, unfortunately, the Clan, right? It's all K's. So, again, alliterative appeal. So this German publisher refused to help support their game if they didn't have that alliterative appeal. So Sven, being a smartass, just called the game Divine Divinity, which is redundant as fuck, but he did that. No. The Lizard League of Looters. For anyone that doesn't know what that is a organization I created in Space Station 13 to explain some of the actions of my lizard characters whenever I'm on a SS13 server and I'm playing assistant. I will have my assistant be a member of the Lizard League of Looters. And that's why I'm running around in maintenance, which I'm not supposed to be in. You're technically not supposed to be in maintenance as an assistant, but that is a methodology for me to explain and in reason way why. And sometimes the admins will play into it as well, and they'll like if I get arrested or things like that, they'll have like a representative from the Triple L has showed up on the station, stuff like that, and so that'll be the representative of the Lizard League of Looters. But, fun stuff like that can happen. Let's see. Yeah, so anyways, Sven, again, being a smartass, he called it Divine Divinity. Which is redundant as fuck, but it had alliterative appeal, and then that got over that German publisher's hurdle. So, yeah, that's why the first game is called Divine Divinity. It was because he got forced to change it from just being called Divinity. And I love when Sven made that thing, because he did a behind the scenes thing about it, about how like touch and go things were, and yeah, that was one of the outcomes of it.
What's going on, everybody? Mortem here. This time bringing you all of the Divinity.
I like your party setup already, sir. I like it already. Playing a lizardman and you're helping the Red Prince. Yep, that's how you do it.
Games ranked.
Or you play Red Prince himself, because it's probably one of the best parts about Divinity 2, and this system carried into Baldur's Gate 3 was the tag system. So you would have specific tags that then allowed the writers and everything, the writers and coders specifically, to hone in and clue in on tags. Like the Red Prince has the Red Prince tag, right? So then you would have that and all the codes and everything like that, easy peasy, you'd know, hey, Red Prince tag, we got to do something for the Red Prince here. So on and so forth. Like, very, very smart system, very good system to use. There were other tags as well, things like the Scholar tag, the Adept tag, the Acolyte tag, the Criminal tag, so on and so forth. And this would be what flagged you for different interactions with different people. Was the system would check what tag you had and then would change the interaction you would have and what you could say and do in said interactions. Very, very smart system. Incredibly smart system. And I'm very grateful they carried it on into Baldur's Gate 3.
Once upon a time, this was actually a pretty Divinity-focused channel, as that is a universe and a series of games that I love very much, though eventually I kind of just ran out of things to talk about and moved on to other stuff, which has thankfully...
Well, I mean, yeah, that would happen. And, it doesn't matter how big a series is, if you don't get new stuff in the series, right, Divinity's not a series that gets a lot of, books and novels and TV shows and things like that. You can't really... like expand out beyond what we get in the games in of themselves. Now the games are very deep and filled with a lot of lore and stuff like that, but you can only take that for so long, right? And it's just, I find it's just better to be have special interests and be like, I'll definitely be interested in anything Larian puts out because I want to support Larian, and I definitely want to support the Divinity series. But I like the fact that I'm not anchored down to a specific thing, right? I'm not anchored down to, I can only talk about Larian Studios and Divinity. I can only talk about Warhammer Online, for example. For a while there, we were only doing Warhammer Online, for anyone that knows, long before the Rumble move and everything like that. Now we're doing multi-streaming, obviously. But long before that, when it was Twitch streams only, I was originally only doing Warhammer Online. And it was Witch Hunter. Which is why I have the Capitaine and everything like that on my character. That's why you see the Capitaine over here on my guy. Yeah. It was originally Warhammer Online. That was the focus. And that's where we got the most viewership and stuff from as well. That's, like I said to people, if I wanted to keep really high viewership, I'd go back to doing Warhammer Online again. But I couldn't stay mad all the time. I was tired of being angry a lot. And it was almost all the time, because I was angry at dumb decisions the devs would make, because they were being entitled little shit stains. I would be angry about, things that would happen. The player base would be, trying to rally for the wrong fucking things. Or they'd be trying to be like, no, stuff like the Shaman is totally fine that it's, the best solo roam class in the entire fucking game because it can heal itself, gets tons of CC, has, tons of crowd control, has, tons of, bubble shields and procs and absorbs, and yeah, no, fuck you. Seriously, fuck you. Every single one of the people that defended Shamans. Fuck all of you. And I'll extend the same thing to those that defend Archmages for the same fucking reasons, because the Archmage was the broken mirror of the, Shaman. But anyways, it's the same thing I always feel about is, I much prefer being variety. Because then we can just kind of go around and do what we want. Granted, when you're in a singular focus, you don't have that struggle that I get lately, which is, what do we want to do for the streams, right? That's why I kind of like this even more freeform thing where we can just chat and just do whatever on the streams. I really do like that a lot. But if it gets down to that whole thing of, what do we want to do? Today's stream, what do we want to do? That becomes a weird thing. It's that choice paralysis thing, right? That's why I kind of like this, where we can kind of just sit and chat and talk and everything like that. I can have a back and forth conversation with you guys. And if we feel like it, we can watch videos. So I understand what he's talking about. I didn't realize he was originally a Divinity focused channel, because I had only met him, right? I'd only seen his content based off of Baldur's Gate 3. So it is actually fascinating to see that he actually comes from a Divinity background like I do. So, yeah.
Been received very well. However, while many people and myself are looking forward to Baldur's Gate 3 from Larian Studios, I am actually much more interested in what they're going to be doing with the Divinity series at this point, because it has so many ideas and plot threads that I am very curious about seeing come to fruition. So naturally, I have a lot of opinions about the individual games. Now, curiously...
Yes. Again, and that's the other thing too. It's one of those things, if you love a game series, I always hate the sycophants, the fanatics, right? The people that, well, I love the thing, so I can't question anything about it. I must defend it in every single aspect. No. Like I said, I will talk about how pathetic and anemic the RTS stuff is in Dragon Commander. I love Dragon Commander, but the RTS mechanics were awful. It literally, it's Babby's first RTS. And... that stuff, if you stripped all the RTS out of Dragon Commander, I think it would be a better game. Because all the stuff, the interesting stuff, the stuff that's genuinely fun and engaging, is the political intrigue and all the stuff that happens on the Raven, your flagship. That is genuinely interesting.
enough, I've never actually ranked all of these before. Someone suggested it in a comment a few days ago, so I decided to run with it. So let's actually get into it, starting from the bottom, of course. First up, we have Beyond Divinity. Truly a terrible game. Now, don't get me wrong.
Ooh, he actually doesn't like Beyond Divinity. Interesting. I'll be curious as why he doesn't like it. Like I said, I would have put Divine Divinity as the worst because I'm remembering that section after you become the Divine. Oh my god. It's not fun. Not fun at all.
I love the Divinity series, but Beyond Divinity, the second of the games that were made, and the third along, chronologically speaking, as it takes place a few years before Divinity Original Sin 2, but Beyond Divinity is a chronicle of sorts about Damien escaping from Nemesis, a plane that is now controlled by demons, though is not where they are from originally.
Yep.
And while nothing that happens here is of particular relevance to Original Sin 2, which most people will be aware of, the one redeeming factor of Beyond Divinity for me personally is that the events that take place here are actually really important to the entire universe of Divinity, which is a shame that the rest of the game is so terrible. So why do I say that? Well, for starters, it's not just me saying that. Larian Studios themselves is on record for basically not liking this game very much. The production was so incredibly rushed that more elaborate quests were cut down to...
That's something I didn't think about. Interesting. Like, I like it. I actually liked it because... But I guess I'm looking at it more as because of its connection to all the rest of the series. I think that's a pretty good point, though, honestly. Am I forgetting the actual mechanical things of it? Because maybe it just was all lesser note... Whereas Divine Divinity, you had to fall off a cliff at the end, right? Interesting.
Going and picking up things in the next room and bringing them back. Beyond Divinity is ultimately a fairly linear experience where you explore set maps, and it is so condensed, in fact, that the game tries to force you into these optional battlefields, I believe they were called, where you would just kill enemies to level up, because there wasn't enough content in the main game to keep you busy, basically. And then there is the training system, which is this sort of frustratingly incoherent system of trainers and skill points for various things, but it's spread way too thin. It's hard to figure out what you even need to pick up, which makes playing through Beyond Divinity a bad time, frankly. But again, narratively, it's actually pretty cool. But because of all that, it gets the bottom of the list.
Yeah, I can understand his reasoning on it, honestly. I understand the reasoning behind it. Like I said, maybe I'm putting it higher because of how intricately tied into the narratives of everything else it is. So that's an interesting thing to think about. But yeah, I would have put Divine Divinity at the bottom because of the last section, specifically once you become divine and how awful it genuinely is.
Next up, though, we have Divinity Dragon.
I put this in the same spot. I had this second from the bottom. That's because the RTS mechanics are pretty poop water, honestly.
Commander, which is a very weird game. Kudos to the people who knew it existed. Now, chronologically, Dragon Commander is actually the first game, as this takes place about 10,000 years before Divinity Original Sin 2, which is made a little awkward by all of the technology that is widely available. We're talking airships, steam engines, just all...
But I wonder if he'll bring it up, but remember, in the end of the storyline, the dragon, after he ascends... right, and he becomes the only, ruling factor in this world, he destroys it all. Intentionally so. He specifically destroys everything, all the technology. And that was, that had one of the best ending slides. The imp that was in charge of all the technology looked so fucking sad. Holy shit.
All sorts of stuff like that is much more technologically beyond what we see throughout most of the Divinity series. This is justified by the game saying that, all of it was destroyed after all the wars that took place, which is thin at best and then comes up somehow in Divinity 2, though we'll get to that in just a moment.
Yeah. Again, like I said, it's not really thin. He's kind of skimmed over it. The dragon himself specifically destroys the technology. He goes out of his way to destroy it and sunder it and render it non-functional. Like, he specifically wanted that to be done. And that was part of the bargain with the Raven, which is the demon that runs the Raven ship.
The reason Dragon Commander is so low is that it's a game that doesn't really know what it wants to be. Most of Dragon Commander is a real-time strategy game that sees you occasionally taking on the role of a dragon, or more specifically, a dragon knight, which in this universe is someone who can turn into a dragon, which is very distinct from true dragons, which are a separate species.
Yep. So, I believe Patriarch is the only true dragon we've met in the series, I think. Because I don't even think in Divine Divinity we've met a true dragon. I believe we met a dragon knight there as well. But the true dragon, which is Patriarch, I believe he's the only one we've met.
But while the real-time strategy aspect of it was competent enough, the other parts of the game are sort of management sim meets dating sim. And as weird as that sounds, the game does kind of work. However, it still kind of feels stitched together a little bit from various genres. And it's clear they had tried something different here. And much of this foundation is what they were kind of planning on using for the seemingly permanently on hiatus game Fallen Heroes that was never officially canceled. However,
I know, damn it, give us Fallen Heroes. Please, if that's their new game, if that's one of Valerian's 2 new games, I'd be fucking happy. But, I don't know, like I said, I was much more favorable to all the rest of the mechanics, and I would just say I would have gotten rid of the RTS stuff entirely. I do agree that it feels stitched together, because I think the stuff on the Raven is far more interesting than anything the RTS has to offer.
Instead of real-time strategy, Fallen Heroes was going to be more of a TRPG. Another cool thing about Dragon Commander, though, is this was one of their more recent games. This was the one right before they started working on the original Sin series. And believe it or not, it's solid. It's not terrible, but it's a wild departure from the rest of the series, which is why it's so low. Now, third on the list, we have Divinity 2. Not to
Ooh! He's going to put Divine Divinity a lot higher. Interesting. Yeah, I would have put, again, I put Flames of Vengeance under Ego Draconis because there's not a lot of content to Flames of Vengeance. Even though, as much as I like the story a lot, I actually preferred Ego Draconis more than Flames of Vengeance. For the overall, like, gameplay and all this kind of stuff you could do. There wasn't much you could do when you were locked into one city, right? Though it was interesting, but still.
Confused with Divinity Original Sin 2, though I admit that is very confusing. See, Divinity 2 takes place actually about 60 years after Divinity Original Sin 2, and this game focuses much more on Damien, Lucian the Divine's adopted son from the very first game, Divine Divinity.
Kind of? It's kind of a mix between Damien and you as becoming a Dragon Knight because the people hate dragons. Right? So, kind of. I will say there's a lot more focus on Damien and his forces, but you're also focused on, and this in particular is because right here in front of you, these are dragon hunters, right? They're the seekers. They are given gifts of the dragon so that they can kill dragons.
In Beyond Divinity, we see Damien escaping from Nemesis, and then no one really hears from him for quite some time. However, in Divinity 2, he is back, and he has discovered all of the lost ancient technology from Dragon Commander, which he is now employing to wreak havoc upon the world, trying to resurrect his lover, Yagurna, who is only seen in this game and otherwise only mentioned in books. But Divinity 2 is a bit of Eurojank, mostly.
I agree. The Divinity 2, if everyone ever asked, like, if there are JRPGs and there are Western RPGs, is there such a thing as a European RPG? I would put Divinity 2 is what I would classify as a Euro RPG. A European RPG through and through. For sure. Holy shit. Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it. Your protagonist is as much of an antagonist for almost everyone else as the actual antagonist. Yep, That's a good way to put it for Divinity 2.
Say it is an ambitious third-person action RPG from the late 2000s. I want to say 2009 if my memory serves. And in it, we actually also take up the role of a dragon knight, and much of the gameplay revolves around being able to turn into a dragon in certain areas and taking part in some aerial combat with this. And while for the most part it's pretty solid, it's also a very janky game. It was also pretty buggy, a lot of which was fixed with the expansion Flames of Vengeance, which together with the base game are collectively known as the Dragon Knight Saga. Now,
Again, we already discussed all the... It's kind of funny, though, to hear it. Like, I wonder if he just combined the two. It looks like he might have just combined the two together, which I guess if you did that, I would probably put Divinity 2... Yeah, no, I don't know. Oh, I guess we'll see. But I don't know, I don't think the rankings would change that much if you combine the two, honestly.
I don't want to spoil it for you, but Divinity 2 here is actually the farthest along in the series chronologically, and this particular game leaves a lot of cliffhangers. Now, given the wild success of Original Sin 2 and everything, it's hard to say if they would actually use any of this instead of just sort of hitting the reset button on some of their canon for that universe, but they have remained largely consistent with that for like 2 decades, so it's hard to say one way or the other. But either...
I would be very interested if we continued on. I want to see post Divinity 2, because the great siege against Damien and literally killing his lover again. So Divinity 2, Ego Draconis, essentially ends up with you resurrecting Damien's lover because of a misunderstanding of the soul link between Damien and Yagurna, right? So you have Damien and Yagurna are apparently soul-linked, but they got soul-linked at Yagurna's death. So if you resurrect Yagurna, the thinking was that it would kill Damien. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. So you just resurrect Yagurna, and then Damien goes off to continue his plots, though he's really happy his lover is back alive, and Yagurna starts besieging the city, and which is where Flames of Vengeance takes place in. You're in the city. Then you break out of the city, and you as a dragon specifically lay the fucking smackdown on and kill Yagurna again. So you send Yagurna, you send her fucking soul and body right back to the fucking, right back to where it belongs, you piece of shit. And I love how, like, pissed she is at you. Like, you stupid fucking dragon. I fucking hate dragons. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. It's so much fun. It's like, yeah, suck a dick, Yagurna. Eat it and die. It's a shame that Damien wasn't there. It would have been funny to kill Damien and then Yagurna's the one left alive. But I just love that at the end. Like, you're basically like, the entire point of Flames of Vengeance is refilling the divot. You're kind of like fixing the whoopsie that you did.
Either way, Divinity 2 does some unique things that I think are worth checking out, even by today.
Oh, the mind-reading mechanic also was very interesting in Divinity 2. I actually really liked the mind-reading mechanic, because then you could skip entire quest lines and things like that. Very fun mechanic to use. I actually like that it also costs experience points because you're not a dragon. So, because you're not a true dragon, you have to actually work on getting your mind-reading capabilities to be that strong. When you become that strong, mind reading is fucking blast. It is great. So I kind of like that as a balancing feature. Like, hey, you can skip this quest if you use mind read, right? So yeah, I genuinely like that. Is there something similar to Ego Draconis? I don't know, honestly. I really don't know.
Standards, with the main drawback being some of its dated mechanics at this point, though it is still pretty fun. Moving right along.
We originally were going to play through it and Flames of Vengeance on stream through the Dragon Knight Saga, but we couldn't get Flames of Vengeance to start because the cutscene to go into Flames of Vengeance would always crash the game, and it made me super fucking sad. Super fucking sad.
Though, we have our fourth entry with the first Original Sin, one of the RPGs that kind of led the revival of CRPGs that we saw in the sort of middle 2010s after a pretty quiet decade, I would say, for that genre. But Original Sin 1 came with all sorts of fresh ideas, many of which were refined in Original Sin 2, but Original Sin 1 here does have a lot of its own unique charm. For starters, this particular game takes place technically in between Dragon Commander and Divine Divinity. However, it takes place like 1200 years before Divine Divinity, which is itself a few years before original.
Because remember, this is back when Source was still a good thing, right? So this was back when Source was still a good thing, still a noble thing to pursue. These guys were called Source Hunters. Later on, Source becomes like a wicked, vile evilness, and that's explained in Divinity Original Sin 2, what it is. Or why that is, I should say. When you kill her, you say, "Later, whore." Do what? Do what, Grindus? Sorry. It's fucking very loud on that one. Because I know what they ultimately were, yeah. In Divinity Original Sin, Source is already tainted? I don't remember Source already being tainted, because I remember Source being okay in Divine Divinity. And you were specifically called Source Hunters to try to do something. You were specifically trying to solve a murder at the start of it, but I remember what your characters actually are. They're actually gods. They just, well, they're not gods, they're divine beings that fucked up. But yeah. They fucked up real bad. That's why I liked the concept of the Original Sin. That's why I don't know if a third Original Sin game could work, because thematically the concept Original Sin is actually tied into the game's storyline, right? And it's the same thing with Original Sin 2. The concept of Original Sin is tied into the game's storyline. It's thematically relevant. I don't know if you could do a third Original Sin. Like, what would become the more originaler sin, right? Like, number 2's Original Sin, it really does seem kind of like, yeah, no, that would definitely be the Original Sin. So, I don't know how you could do a third game and have an originaler sin. No, yeah. But remember, what you find out in 2, based off the gods, and the gods, how they stole their power and they weren't actually gods before. And that's where the Void comes in, because the Void is trying to take back the power that the gods stole for themselves. And that's the original sin, was the fact that they stole their powers. They aren't gods at all. Original Sin 3, Electric Boogaloo. Yeah.
Original Sin 2. So, chronologically speaking, this is still quite a ways back in the timeline from Original Sin 2, when the world was quite a bit different. So, we play as 2 Source Hunters, tracking down mad sorcerers, and while the game is not directly connected to its sequel, it does lay a lot of the groundwork. For instance, Original Sin 1 actually goes through a lot of narrative about why Source is turning people into lunatics, which, as you know from the timeline at this point, continues for quite some time. But Original Sin 1 does a lot of other cool things as well. We meet the goddess of Source, known as Astarte, one of the gods that is not the 7, which are the only ones really referenced much in Original Sin 2, though even Astarte does get a brief mention in one conversation in the sequel. And if you're interested in more gods of the Divinity universe, I've actually made a video about some of that as well, as the 7 are far from the only ones. They're just the most important. But
yes. Yeah, because it's the same thing. Your Source Hunters here are technically gods or divine beings as well. They just, they fucked up when they were supposed to be guarding the source. They're supposed to be guarding the things. They kind of fucked up, and that was also because of what's her name? she kind of convinced them that they could take the time off. It's like, hey, you don't have to be guarding that the whole time. And then she fucked around and played with it, and then, kind of set everything in motion. So part of their original sin, part of the reason why they are sinful is because they had a job to do, and then they gave in to temptation and didn't do their job. And it caused problems, which is where the one creature comes in. I can't remember what he was at the end of Original Sin 1. What was the final boss of the Original Sin 1? Yeah, Original Sin. You had one job. Yeah, exactly. You had one job and you fucked it up. Was it Void Dragon? Okay. Yeah, so, and that's kind of a part of what's trying to take back the power for the Void and everything. You learn more about that in Original Sin 2 with the whole, like, taking back the power.
Original Sin 1 here had a lot of pretty, at the time, groundbreaking mechanics that, again, went on to be refined in Original Sin 2, but things like the way you could move various objects, sneak around enemies, and a lot of other various systems that all mesh together to allow the player to make a lot of...
Speedrun for Divinity Original Sin 1 was get the lava chest. Get the lava chest, destroy everything.
Emergent gameplay that led to many creative solutions to problems, and for a CRPG at the time, that was pretty wildly impressive, though a lot of the focus for this title went into the elemental interactions, which were a big selling point of that game. And for all the...
Always remember, poison is explosive. Oh, man. I love the fact that poison was explosive. That was so much fun. The chain reactions you could set off were fucking crazy.
Those reasons, Divinity Original Sin 1 is still decently high on this list, though it is very much so overshadowed by its sequel these days. However, that brings us to our next to last entry, which is actually the very first game they made for this series, Divine Divinity.
I am shocked that Divine Divinity was this high in the thing because of that end section. That end section is absolute fucking cancer. It is genuine. I don't know if he'll talk about it or mention it, but that end section was awful. Genuinely awful. But as you can see, again, very much a Diablo style game, right? Very much so.
The game that kicked it all off. Now, I've talked about Divine Divinity on the channel quite a few times, and for a game released at that time, it does some very impressive things. So, for starters, many of the mechanics that later made it into Original Sin 1 and 2 are actually here already. We see the teleporter pyramids, for instance, which can be used to break the game in a few places, just like they are in the other games. And the narrative of Divine Divinity is actually about Lucian's rise to power as the divine. Though, while I am very fond of this game and everything it does as an RPG, including giving you very open-ended ways to approach various quests, and some, let's say, very memorable voice acting, and a large open...
Please, if you do memorable voice acting, please do the skeletons. Please show the skeletons. That's one of the best parts. That's like... That point will always be stuck in my mind, the fucking skeletons. And if he doesn't do the skeletons, I'll show you guys the skeletons after the video.
World to explore. It is nonetheless a little buggy these days. While it will technically run for you if you buy it, it can be a little inconsistent, and there are definitely some game-breaking bugs present. So while I think many of the things it did were very impressive at the time, it is very much so showing its age at this point. And if you want full details on that, I've actually reviewed this one. But all of that to basically tell you that Divine Divinity is a remarkable game, and it is actually pretty crazy how much of this went on to show up later in the series. And it's wild to me that they followed this game up with one of their worst, Beyond Divinity. If you ever get the chance, though, I think you should try it, as it really is a pretty special game. But that, of course, leaves us with the top.
Yeah, he didn't mention the ending part, because that was atrocious. And, yeah, he didn't show the skeletons, so I'll show you guys the skeletons.
Top spot, and in a surprise to no one, I'm sure this goes to Original Sin 2. It is easily the crowning achievement of this series at this point,
Absolutely.
and it is truly an amazing title. They took many of the features that worked from their previous games, refined them, polished them, and made a truly masterpiece of an experience that remains one of my favorite games to this day. And while I will say that I personally prefer things like Pathfinder across the board, Original Sin 2 is nonetheless a fantastic title. It runs where a lot of their previous games only walked.
And again, with how complex the storyline is, you can absolutely see how Larian would be kind of the only studio out there that could make a Baldur's Gate 3, right? The complexities in the storyline here are fucking incredible, and how much all the different storylines intermix with each other. And oh my god, you have Sibyl in your... I just only realized now you have Sibyl. How? How did you let her live from your first interaction? But, yeah, no, the storylines, all of the character storylines, even Sibyl, I harp on Sibyl because she a racist. But, no, and I use that in the thing like, she has very good reason to be. She was a slave to the Lizard Empire for basically her entire life, and she specifically was a slave to the Shadow Prince, who is very pragmatic of a villain. Very, very pragmatic. I actually liked that you could do things like with the Shadow Prince. I wish you could convince the Shadow Prince to come to the Red Prince's side at the end. I wish that was a thing. Like, I feel like he's so pragmatic, you could make a genuine argument for having him join the Red Prince in the end. It's just that he's gotten to where his pragmatism has blinded him to all other outcomes. He specifically wants to kill the Red Prince, or the Red Princess in particular, because he doesn't want the Red Prince and the Red Princess to bang. And the reason he doesn't want that to happen is because he doesn't want the dragons to come back, because the only reason the lizardmen are lizardmen to begin with is because people hated the dragons so much, they all rose up together in a unified front to throw down the dragons and strip them of their ancestral birthright and made the lizardmen. And the Shadow Prince doesn't want to see that happen again. He wants the Lizard Empire to continue being on top, which it is. He wants them to continue being as strong as they are. He doesn't want to see the lizardmen get attacked again with a unified front. So he specifically wants the Red Princess dead so that can't happen. When you play the Red Prince, if you decide to bang the Red Princess and you give birth to a dragon, not only can you use that dragon as a summon, and it is an exceptionally powerful summon. It's a little hatchling dragon, and it is insanely powerful. This little hatchling dragon will fuck things up very quickly. But yeah, it's not only if you do that, he loses his mind, and he just is like, no, I've got to kill you and kill that little baby and destroy the eggs and everything. No, fuck this. It's I feel like you should be able to talk him into your way of thinking. Right? Like, I feel like you should be able to overcome that obstacle. But, you know, who knows? Who knows? That's just me. That's just me personally wanting that to be the outcome, but you never know. Maybe they'll have a good reason for it in another title? Maybe? I don't know.
Every quest offering a mind-boggling amount of options in terms of approaching it, many of them being free-form or optional. There's an incredible amount of content. They did a wonderful job of expanding the lore.
Actually, speaking of the fact that I'm talking about this is actually where you first meet the Red Princess if you're the Red Prince. And then you get jumped by the Pallets.
Even if it did create a few plot holes here, but Original Sin 2 is really one of the...
One of the biggest plot holes would definitely be, is Damien still the Divine? By Divinity 2 standards, he should be, but... Divinity Original Sin 2, I don't know. Like, maybe they'll retcon Divinity 2 out of existence. It'd make me sad, but... I could see them wanting to go with the more interesting, more complex storyline here that gets laid out in Divinity Original Sin 2. I could see that happening.
First games where they took the lore very seriously, and the love that was put into this game really shows. It is honestly a masterpiece. But even it's not without its faults, though. There are some minor problems, which I mentioned in my review of this game. But most of them are pretty easy to overlook with how good everything else about it is. And for all those reasons, it is one of my favorite games, period. That, though, does finally bring us to the end of this video, and there are all of my thoughts on the Divinity games ranked accordingly. So I certainly hope you enjoyed it, learned a little bit about the games themselves, as there's probably not.
Again, I find the list interesting because again, it's not the same thing I would have done. And hearing his reasoning, because I already gave my reasoning for what I would do for my list, and it's interesting to think about Beyond Divinity, not from its narrative perspective, but more from its gameplay perspective, because I guess I had kind of forgotten how bad the gameplay could be in that game. Right? I had forgotten the mechanical stuff of it because I'm so much more interested and focused in on the story. It's the same reason why I like Dragon Commander so much. I'm more interested in the political intrigue and the scheming that happens on the Raven, and I thought the RTS is literally just Babby's first RTS. He was saying the RTS was competently done, but it's just kind of there. So, I don't know. I guess that would be, his would be a little more favorable to the RTS. Mine is less favorable to the RTS. And he was a little more lukewarm on the stuff that was aboard the Raven, whereas I was more, I'm more in high praise of the stuff on the Raven. Yeah, very interesting.
Not really a series that I am more familiar with, as I made a nonsense amount of lore videos about pretty much every subject you could think of, so if there's anything you're curious about or want to learn more about, chances are I have a video.
Honestly, this will be on my free time, right? I'll probably watch his lore videos and stuff. Like, unironically. I'll probably go in and see what he's got to say on the Divinity series, because I love the Divinity series as well, so.
Realistically, the only thing I really need to do for that series at this point is get around to reviewing the few that I haven't, which because of all the other content I've made for them, I've just never really felt in much of a rush to do. In fact, to this day, if you go to YouTube and search Divinity lore, it is just page after page of my videos on it. So needless to say, I enjoy it a lot. However, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment.
It's funny that I had only known about this guy because of Baldur's Gate 3, whereas I never looked into, like, I never would look up stuff for the lore, so like that. I always just had that knowledge that I was just a weirdo because I liked the Divinity series so much, right? So it is fun. It's fun to think about that he has a whole thing dedicated to the lore and stuff, so I might actually start watching some of those videos. That would be pretty neat, pretty peachy keen.
Subscribe, all that YouTube jazz, but regardless of any of that, truly, just thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Again, I actually think that was a pretty good video. I liked his reasoning behind it, and it was funny to see where we differed in what we thought. Granted, he also merged Ego Draconis and Flames of Vengeance together. So yeah, if I did that, I guess if we put them both together because of the Dragon Knight saga, that would raise up Flames of Vengeance a bit more. Yeah, no, I actually like that quite a lot. I think it's time to bring out the torches and pitchforks. No, bad. Stop it. Stop it. All right. Yeah, chat. That will do it for me today. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm going to put these things. I'm going to copy that video. And I'm going to copy Fat Electrician's video. I'm going to put them in the stuff as well, because I need to actually put them in the description now that we've actually done them. So that, I'm going to put the markers on it so it doesn't highlight. And I need to grab the Fat Electrician video real quick. Okay. Go to Operation Beavers.
This is...
Alright. Grab that real quick. Boom. Cool. Alright, chat. In the meantime, though, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. Stay safe and healthy. Get fit, get ripped. I will be back tomorrow. We'll probably be playing some more Once Human. Granted, Mecha Canal did give us the stuff. Maybe we should do Black Sun Wukong. Black Myth. Black Sun Wukong. Black Myth. Sun Wukong. God damn it. Yeah, maybe we'll do that tomorrow. So yeah. In the meantime, though, like I said, I will see you guys around. Hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I'll get these two added to the description so that we can show off the videos. Yeah. Bye-bye for now, everyone. Goodbye. Bye-bye.